Hi, welcome back guys. This is your sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Harem Naruto Unlocks Bloodline. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. A 14-year-old Naruto Uzumaki sat on Hokage Mountain, watching over the village hidden in the leaves, known as Konoha. He wore black umbu-style pants, taped at the ankles, a pair of black shinobi boots, a black long-sleeve t-shirt, and a jet-black cloak. Medical tape was wrapped around his forehead like a headband. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, approached and sat down next to the young teen. "Naruto-kun, what are you doing out here so early in the morning? The genin exams don't start for another 2 hours," he asked. "Just thinking through things, Hokage-sama. Today is rather a big day for me," Naruto replied with a small, genuine smile. Sarutobi smiled back, recalling the last time he had seen the boy truly smile. It was probably before the fateful night that changed Naruto's life forever. Once a bright young boy, always laughing and pulling pranks, Naruto's life took a dark turn when he was attacked by 17 unknown villagers at the age of 5, beaten to the brink of death. That night, Naruto unleashed his bloodline, resulting in a chaotic scene. He had changed since then, becoming cold, calm, and collected, traits expected of a shinobi. He was fiercely loyal to the village, even more so than before, though he never revealed his reasons. "Hokage-sama, are you alright?" Naruto asked, noticing Sarutobi lost in thought. "Just thinking about that night, my boy," Sarutobi replied. "I see. I've been thinking about it as well," Naruto said quietly. Sarutobi nodded and smirked. "You said today was a big day for you. I think so too, Rookie of the Year," he said with a grin. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "What makes you think I'll be Rookie of the Year, Hokage-sama?" "I have my reasons, but one can never be sure," Sarutobi replied, his grin widening. "How about I take you out for some ramen?" 10 minutes later, Naruto considered the offer and nodded. He hadn't had a chiraku in what felt like a lifetime. It was important for him to stay healthy for the training regimen he had followed for the last 10 years. The sound of Sarutobi ringing the bell reached his ears, a sound he missed. "Coming," a female voice called from the back. Soon, a brown-haired girl who looked a few years older than Naruto approached the counter where they sat. "Ichihoko-sama, what will you be having this fine morning?" she asked. "Just a beef ramen will do, I-am-chan," Sarutobi replied with a smile. "And you, sir?" "I-am," asked Naruto, her eyes widening as she recognized him. "Naruto-kun?" she exclaimed, surprised to see him after so long. "It's been a while, I-am-san. I'll have my usual, but just one," he said with a small smile. I-am smiled back and nodded. "One beef ramen and one miso coming right up," she said, rushing to the back to prepare their food. An hour passed, and I-am returned with the food, her father right behind her. "Oh, Naruto, my boy. It's so good to see you. It's been ages," Tsume Ichiraka said. "You as well, Tutsun." "It has been ages," Naruto replied with a smile as I-am handed him his food. "Thank you, I-am-san," he said, breaking his chopsticks apart. She blushed at his words and nodded. "Why, you're welcome, Naruto-kun," she said before disappearing into the back of the ramen shop. Tsume smirked, noting that his daughter seemed taken with Naruto. An hour later, Sarutobi stood up to leave. "Well, I better be going now," he said to Tsume with a smile. He and Naruto had stayed a bit longer after finishing their food to talk, though Naruto mostly listened. "Don't let me keep you, Hokage-sama. It's about time customers really began to show up," Tsume replied. Naruto nodded and stood. "I must be going as well. I have that genin exam to get to," he said, placing some money on the table for himself and Sarutobi. "It's on the house. My number one customer is back," Tsume said. Sarutobi and Naruto chuckled. "Thank you, sir. I'll be sure to stop by when I can. I'm on a shinobi diet, so I can't eat this stuff all the time, even if it is the greatest creation," Naruto said. Tsume grinned. "Of course, my boy, and good luck. I hope you pass. I remember when you were running around, screaming about being Hokage. You were just a little tyke then." Naruto blushed at the memory and chuckled dryly. "Well, Naruto-kun, good luck. When you get your headband, come see me in my office." There is something I must discuss with you, Sarutobi said. Naruto nodded. I'll be there, he replied. Sarutobi nodded and vanished in a swirl of leaves. Well, see you, Tsuchi-san, and thanks for the good food once again. It was delicious, just as I remember it, Naruto said with a grin. W, I am called as she ran up to him, her face flushed. H here, she said, shoving a piece of folded paper into his hands. See, call me sometime, she added before disappearing into the back of the ramen shop again. Naruto looked at Tsuchi, who just shrugged. He sighed and sank into a pit of lava he created beneath him. That was cool, Tsuchi muttered. At the academy, Naruto reappeared just outside and made his way inside. He opened the door to the classroom and immediately heard shouting. No, I'm sitting next to Sasuke-kun. Ino Yamanaka yelled at Sakura Haruno, who had pink hair. No, I am Piggy. Sakura shot back. Right, Sasuke-kun? She asked the blue-haired boy known as Sasuke Uchiha. Sh, was all he replied, leaving both girls flustered. Naruto sighed to himself, thinking about the annoying fangirls as he found his seat at the front of the classroom. He needed to keep an eye on one of his senseis, and what better way to do that than to have a front-row seat? I see that Naruto finally made it. Now we can get on to the written portion, Irika Yumino said with a smile. He then noticed his students' depressed expressions, with clouds hanging over their heads. All except for Naruto, who looked bored, and Sasuke, who was brooding as usual. Roses are red, Itachi is dead. Ha! Sasuke said aloud, causing the whole class to sweat drop. Well, Mizuki, please hand out the test, Irika requested of his fellow Chunin teacher. It was going to be a long day. Later, Irika announced, Good, you all have successfully turned in your papers. Please follow me outside, and we can begin the taijutsu portion. He smiled and walked out of the room. Naruto stood up and immediately made eye contact with Sasuke. Today is the day I'll show you who's top dog around here, Dobe, Sasuke declared, making his fangirl swoon. May the best man win, Naruto replied with a hidden sigh. Come on, Sasuke-kun, you'll definitely win, Hinata Hyuga said, raising an eyebrow at her. Sasuke had thought she liked the loser, but clearly, he was mistaken. Outside, Naruto sat against a tree, silently awaiting his fight. Naruto versus Sasuke, Irika called out. I must be going now, Naruto said, vanishing in a swirl of leaves. His lava-release teleportation wasn't going to be shown just yet. He reappeared in the arena and took his fighting stance. Sorry, Naruto, Sasuke insisted I start this fight early, Irika said with a sigh. I didn't insist anything. I'm an Uchiha, I am elite, and I get what I want, Sasuke proclaimed proudly as he hopped into the arena, taking his own stance. Both Naruto and Irika sighed at this. Please begin, Irika said, jumping back but staying close enough to intervene if necessary. Before anyone could see it, Naruto had Sasuke pinned to the ground, his left hand on the back of Sasuke's neck and his right knee on Sasuke's upper back. Forfeit, Naruto said calmly, though there was a hint of frustration in his. But this was how all their fights went, the same outcome every time. No, I'm an elite. I'll defeat you and take your power. Sasuke yelled, his face pressed into the arena floor. Naruto sighed again and delivered a gentle chop to the back of his neck. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki, Irika announced with a chuckle. Just like last time, it never got old. Naruto got to his feet and returned to his tree. Irika-sensei, he cheated, Hinata said calmly. How so, Hinata? Irika asked. He used chakra to take Sasuke-kun down. I saw it with my Byakugan, Hinata explained. I see. Did you use chakra, Naruto? Irika inquired. Naruto turned around and nodded. I did, but only because he insisted he was elite. I figured using a little chakra wouldn't hurt him since he's elite and all, Naruto said sarcastically. Irika hid a smirk and nodded. I'll allow it. Good job, Naruto, he said, making Naruto smirk. You can't do that, he cheated fair and square. Sakura yelled, then suddenly covered her mouth. The last time she had said something negative to him, Naruto had threatened to melt her in her sleep. Nope, I say this was Sasuke's own fault. He came in here cocky and got taken down, regardless of chakra being used or not, Irika said. Now, next fight, Ino versus Sakura. He then announced. Bring it, piggy. Sakura yelled as she entered the arena. You're on, forehead. Ino yelled back. A nap sounds nice, Naruto said, falling asleep by his tree. He was jolted awake by Hinata's voice. I'll find a way to get you kicked out of the ninja program altogether. A demon like you doesn't deserve to be here, she said. Did you say something? He asked, rubbing his eyes in confusion. Grr, you'll pay for what you did to me, she yelled, stomping away. Naruto smirked and closed his eyes again. Works every time. I'll have to thank Kakashi Hatake for that one, he murmured. Naruto, will you be dealing with Mizuki? A loud voice boomed in his head. It was Kurama, the nine-tailed fox. Yeah, Kurama, I will. It's long overdue, but you'll have to wait and see later on today. Half an hour later, after all the spars were completed, Irika began the kunai and shuriken throwing portion of the test. Since Naruto won the first match, he will be the first one throwing, Irika announced. Naruto got up and walked over to the throwing platform. He grabbed 5 of each from the table and threw them all at once, hitting bullseyes. Yua, 10-10 on both. Good job, Irika stammered in awe. He had expected Naruto to do well, but he never expected him to throw both sets of kunai and shuriken at the same time. Do it again, separately this time, Mizuki demanded, trying to use his position to force Naruto. Naruto smirked and looked toward him. Is your last name Uzumaki, Mizuki? He asked. Mizuki scoffed. Of course not, he replied. As I thought. If your last name is not Uzumaki, then don't demand anything from me, or I'll melt you, Naruto said, blowing steam from his lips. Mizuki gulped and nodded. Just kidding, he said with a nervous grin. So was I, Naruto replied with his own grin before walking back to his tree and sitting down. Yeah, you will melt tonight. For that, I am sure, Naruto thought as he closed his eyes with a smirk on his face. Later, it was time for the jutsu portion, and Naruto was, of course, called out first. However, it was Mizuki this time. Naruto smirked at this. First, we would like you to perform the transformation jutsu, Irika said with a smile. Naruto nodded and transformed into a red-haired girl of the same age as him, wearing a Konoha headband. Nice, but may I ask who that is? Irika inquired. He remembered seeing a red-haired woman around Konoha when he was a kid but did not know her name. Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto said in Kushina's exact voice. He then turned back into his regular form. My Kachun, Naruto said with a smile. That's impossible, you're an orphan. You don't have any parents. Sasuke yelled at him. Naruto sighed but chose not to respond. Well, she is pretty, Naruto. Now please perform the substitution jutsu, Irika said. Naruto complied and substituted with Sasuke, causing the Uchiha to fall on his backside as Naruto sat back in his chair. Good, now the clone jutsu, Irika said, trying not to laugh at the Uchiha who was walking back to his seat. As they passed each other, Naruto whispered, Call me an orphan again, and you'll wish Itachi had killed you that night. Sasuke felt Naruto's intense aura and gulped. I won't, he said in fear. Naruto smirked. Good, he replied, and the tension dissipated. Naruto made his way back to the front and formed a unique hand seal. Shadow clone jutsu, he thought, and 4 clones appeared beside him. Gasps filled the room as everyone marveled at their perfection. Fail! Mizuki shouted. Irika-sensei said clone jutsu. He never specified which one, Mizuki, Naruto said calmly. Naruto's right, Mizuki. If he knows the shadow clone jutsu, then that's even better than the standard clone jutsu, Irika explained. I'll allow it. You've been quite unpleasant lately, Mizuki. You should know better than this. As for you, Naruto, pick your headband, you pass, Irika told the boy with a smile. Naruto nodded and picked up a headband with black cloth, tying it to his belt loop. Thank you, he said, bowing slightly. He then found his seat and sat down, watching Mizuki's emotions shift from anger to frustration. This made Naruto smirk even more. Okay, next up, Sasuke Uchiha, Irika announced to the class. Naruto just put his head down and waited for the class to finally end. Later that night, Naruto was now a fully fledged shinobi and had also earned the title of Rookie of the Year. The expressions on the faces of his classmates were priceless, especially Sasuke's. He was currently sitting in the Hokage's office, discussing what Sarutobi wanted to talk about. What I'm about to tell you is an S-rank secret, so please listen well, Naruto-kun, Sarutobi instructed. Naruto nodded, but they were interrupted when a purple-haired Umbu rushed into the room. Mizuki has stolen the scroll of sealing. Iruka-san is fighting him now, she reported. Hiruzen nodded and stood up. Naruto-kun, this will be your first A-rank mission. Eliminate Mizuki and retrieve the scroll, he said. Naruto was gone the moment the words left Hiruzen's mouth, already knowing what he needed to do. Sending a genin to kill a Chunin, Hokage-sama? This is beneath even you, the Umbu remarked. Hiruzen smirked. Naruto isn't an ordinary genin, Yugao-chun. In fact, pay close attention, you might learn something, he said, gesturing for her to watch the fight with him through his crystal ball. They saw Naruto arrive, and the confrontation between Iruka and Mizuki paused. Well, if it isn't the demon brat, Mizuki sneered. Do you know why everyone hates you, Naruto? Do you know why people call you a demon brat? Mizuki taunted. Naruto smirked and nodded. No, Mizuki, it's forbidden, Iruka yelled. Shut up, Iruka. Now, Naruto, do you want to know why? Mizuki asked again. Naruto remained silent as he unbuttoned his cloak to reveal a katana blade hooked to his left hip. I'll tell you, Mizuki continued, interpreting Naruto's silence as agreement. He didn't notice as Naruto unsheathed the shiny katana. 14 years ago, Lord Hokage made a decree. He began, that decree was to allow you to have a normal childhood. But because you're the nine-tailed fox, Mizuki finished with a sinister laugh. Now I get to be the hero of this village. For killing you, fox. He charged at Naruto with a kunai. No, Mizuki! Iruka yelled, rushing forward, but before he could move, Mizuki dropped to his knees, blood leaking from his side. Naruto stood behind him, katana pointed at the back of his neck. I know about Kurama, Mizuki. I also know about the decree. There would never have been one if Danzo hadn't run his mouth, Naruto said with a sigh. If he hadn't, maybe I could have had a normal childhood. However, a 14-year-old with a body count of 17 doesn't have a normal childhood. Mizuki and Iruka widened their eyes. Why are Konoha's hidden maelstrom? It was all over the Konoha newspaper. The person who killed 17 villagers in the span of 5 seconds, they were all traitors to the village who had attacked you minutes earlier. You were not saved that night, it was you who killed them, Iruka said in awe, causing Mizuki's eyes to widen even more. Naruto smirked. Not bad, Iruka-sensei. You know your stuff, that's good. Seconds later, Mizuki's head rolled to the ground. Hidden maelstrom, huh? He wondered as he sheathed his katana. I like that. He then touched the shoulder of Mizuki's headless body, which burst into flames and melted into a pool of lava. Seal his head up in a scroll and take it to Ibiki, Iruka. I'll be taking this, Naruto instructed, picking up the scroll of sealing. Okay, Naruto. I'll see you at the academy in 1 month to announce the genin teams. Back at the Hokage's office, Sarutobi asked Yugao with a grin, Did you learn anything? She pushed her mask to the side and smirked. He is pretty impressive, she replied. I'm back, Naruto announced as he appeared in the room, tossing the scroll onto Hiruzen's desk and sitting down. I have Iruka taking care of Mizuki's head, he's dropping it off to Ibiki, Naruto explained. Hiruzen nodded. So, you know about your burden and your parents? He asked. Yeah, Hokage-sama. Kurama told me about them. I guess he felt I needed to know, Naruto said with a smile. I see. I'm sorry, my boy. Your father had many enemies, enemies who would love nothing more than to kill their son, Sarutobi said with a sigh. I know. Being the son of my father could cause trouble for me. Not many people know about my mother, so I have no problem telling people I'm her son. I'm sure Iruka told you about me transforming into her. I also revealed that she was my mother at the academy, Naruto said. Hiruzen nodded. I actually saw it with the crystal ball. It was cool to witness, he said with a smile. Sorry, sir. But could you fill me in on whatever the two of you are talking about? Yugao asked. Hiruzen looked to Naruto, who nodded, and then he continued, Yugao-chan, Naruto here is the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina was the former holder of Kurama before Naruto. And I'm sure you know who Minato is, he said with a sad smile. Yugao gasped and looked at Naruto, who resembled the fourth Hokage. It's nice to meet you, Narsama, she said with a bow. Yeah, I already don't like that, Naruto replied. Just call me Naruto, the blonde said to her. Yugao nodded and smiled at him. Okay, Naruto. 1 month later. Naruto woke up early on this particular Monday morning, excited yet anxious about getting his team today. He had little hope for how it would go, so he decided to just sit back and wait. Currently, he was at the academy, awaiting the arrival of the other genin. Only Sakura and Ino were missing, but that didn't last long as the two came crashing through the door. Ha, I win, Ino pig. Sakura yelled. Nope, forehead. I win. Ino yelled back. Stop yelling, it's 6 in the morning, Naruto groaned. The two girls looked at him and gulped. Sorry, Narkun, they said as they went to find their seats. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Irika came over and spoke quietly. Hokage-sama sent a letter to all the students. He apologized for any trouble Mizuki may have caused them. He also explained what happened and who killed him, so expect some weird and scared looks. He went into full detail but left out the part about Mizuki mentioning the fox, he said, looking around. No one other than Naruto heard him. Naruto nodded. He didn't tell me about that. Then again, I've been out of the village for some solo training, Naruto replied. Okay, thank you, Irika-sensei, Naruto said. You're welcome and thank you. I may have beaten him, but with the curse seal Orochimaru gave him, I don't know. I've never faced something like that, Irika said with a sigh. Naruto nodded. You're welcome. I was just doing my job. It feels nice to know my first mission is an A rank, though, he chuckled. Irika grinned and nodded. I'll start with Team 7 then, he announced. Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke was the first to voice his thoughts. Why do I, the Rookie of the Year, have to be stuck with these losers? Naruto-kun is the Rookie of the Year, Sasuke-kun. Sakura spoke up, surprising everyone in the room. Irika cleared his throat. She's right. Usually, the Rookie of the Year is paired up with the Kunoichi of the Year and the Dead Last. However, Hokage-sama thinks that Naruto would be better paired up with the two of you. You both came in second place, so we are trying something different this year, he explained. He wasn't sure of Hokage-sama's reasoning but would come up with one of his own until Sarutobi provided his explanation. Your sensei is Kakashi Hatake, he added and moved on. Sasuke gritted his teeth. He was an elite and did not want to be with two losers. Sakura thought differently. She didn't mind being on a team with either of them. Both were handsome. Sasuke was aloof and had a stick up his back, while Naruto was nice and sarcastic, and a bit intimidating, but she could handle that. Naruto, on the other hand, was fine with it as well, but for different reasons. I see. I don't know why he put Haruno on the team, but Sasuke is here so Kakashi can train him. That means he won't train me or Sakura. I guess I'm going at it solo for another decade, Naruto thought with a sigh. 3 hours later, Kakashi Hatake finally arrived to see his 3 students. One was brooding with a cloud over his head, one was swooning like a fangirl over him, and the last was sitting there with a bored expression. You all disappoint me. Meet me on the roof in 5, he said and burst into smoke. He is 3 hours late and calls us disappointing. I have little hope for this team, Naruto thought with a sigh and vanished in a swirl of leaves. On the roof, Naruto sat waiting for his teammates. How did you get up here so fast? Sakura asked, out of breath. Body flicker technique, Naruto replied. Sakura nodded in surprise and sat down next to him. Sasuke arrived next, still brooding. Ichim, he said. Sakura squealed in delight and sighed happily. Okay, now that you're all here, let's do introductions. Dreams, likes, dislikes, and your name. You start first, Blondie, Kakashi said to them. Naruto nodded. Naruto Uzumaki. I like Hokage-sama, Ramen, training my lava release, and talking with Kurama. My dislikes are annoying people and traitors. My dream? I don't have one at the moment, he said, surprising them. Pinky, you're up next, Kakashi said. Sakura groaned at the comment but spoke nonetheless. My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes are... She glanced at Sasuke. My dream is... She looked at Sasuke again. I dislike Ino Pig and Hinata Baka, she shouted, causing all three boys to sweat drop at her outburst. Kakashi nodded and turned to Sasuke. Your last, dark and brooding, he said. HN. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I'm an elite, and everyone is beneath me. I have no likes and I dislike a lot of things. My dream, no ambition, is to kill Itachi. Kakashi nodded but sighed internally. I have a fangirl, a loner, and then there's Naruto, who is actually taking his job seriously, he thought with a sigh. Well, meet me here at 5 in the morning for your real genin test. Oh, and don't eat anything, he said and vanished. Sasuke gritted his teeth. That power should be his. Sakura sighed at her new teacher. Do you want to go out on a date with me, Sasuke-kun? She asked. Leave me alone, he growled and left. Sakura sighed and then looked to Naruto. Do you want to go on a date? She asked him, testing the waters. I'm into older women, so no, he replied. Later that evening. Right now, Naruto was walking around Konoha. He had decided to explore and check out the sights. Naruto-kun! Someone yelled as they ran up to him, making Naruto turn around and smile at the familiar face. I am San, what's up? He asked the cute ramen chef. I haven't seen you in a month, and I wanted to see what you were doing, she said with her own smile. I've been busy lately with training and that kind of stuff. I'm a genin now, so that's fun, he replied with a smile as they began to walk. Congrats. I am said with a grin. I wish I could say the same. Two-sen has me on a topping run. We ran out of fish cakes and menma, and we are also getting low on eggs and other stuff, she told him with a sigh. Need some company? I have to get some broccoli for my lunch tomorrow anyhow. I'm making chicken Alfredo, he offered. Sure, I would like that, she said with a tiny blush. Naruto nodded and put his hand forward. He told her with a grin, lead the way, your ramen highness. I am grinned as well and nodded to him, saying, this way, my ramen minion. Sometime later, Naruto and I am found the store and made their way inside. It was on the other side of the village and took them half an hour. Sometimes I forget Konoha is a really big place, he told her. You can say that again, she replied with a chuckle. My feet are killing me, she added with a sigh. Hello, how can I help you? Get out, I refuse to serve your kind here, the lady behind the counter told Naruto with a glare. Hey, you can't talk that way to Naruto-kun. I am shouted at her. You can leave as well, girl, the cashier retorted, sending a glare her way. Naruto quickly removed his katana and walked up to her, placing the blade near her neck as he began to speak. Are you refusing a ninja of Konoha? He asked, slamming his headband on the table. The woman widened her eyes at this. They made you a ninja? She stammered. Naruto smirked. They did, he said, glaring at her. She gulped and nodded. Please buy anything you like. There is a discount for you, she said in fear. Naruto smirked again. Thank you kindly, he said, sheathing his blade. It better be, Ayam told her with a huff and beckoned Naruto to help her out. The next morning, Naruto got up early and made his lunch. He put some in a bowl and covered it with a lid. After placing the leftovers in the fridge, he looked at the time. 5:30, he muttered. I have time to hang out with Ayam-chan, he said, not knowing when he began calling her that, but it felt nice. He smiled and vanished into a pit of lava. Once there, he sat down and saw Ayam slumped over the counter, sleeping. Naruto tapped her shoulder, and she woke up immediately. Anko-kun, why are you here early? She asked, rubbing her eyes. I came to see you, actually. I don't have to be at the training ground for another half hour. Ayam was not expecting this but smiled. I see. Do you want some ramen? She asked, fully waking up to get the day started. No, I just want to talk. My teammates are annoying, so I'd much rather be here. I like hanging out with you, he said with a smile. Ayam blushed at this. I like hanging out with you, she replied with a smile. So what do you want to talk about? She asked him. Naruto shrugged. Anything is fine, I'm here till 6, he said to her. Did you lose your virginity to a purple-haired woman? She asked him. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Yeah, where the hell did you hear that? He asked. Anko-chan, I said quietly. Anko Mitarashi? He asked, knowing of Anko but having never met her, or so he thought. I nodded. Yeah, that purple-haired woman was her. I didn't believe her, but she told me just the other day. She was coming home from a mission, knocking on death's door, and you saved her. So she slept with you. It was her way of repaying you for saving her, she explained. Naruto slightly widened his eyes at this. He did remember her. Though he never saw her again, Anko was his reason for liking older women. They knew what they were doing and what they wanted. Younger girls didn't know what they wanted and were annoying. That is interesting. Do you know where I can find her? Naruto asked. He wouldn't go as far as to say he loved Anko, but losing your virginity made you develop some feelings for the person who took it. Yeah, she comes here every day at noon for lunch. The dango shop is closed, and she has to eat here. We got to talking about cute boys one day, and your name came up. We had a long conversation about you, she told him, blushing. I see, all good things I hope? Naruto asked. I nodded eagerly. Yes, nothing bad was said about you, Naruto-kun, she assured him. Naruto smiled and nodded. That's good, he said. I smiled and looked at the time. It's 5:55, you better get going, she told him. Kakashi Hatake is my sensei, so I can stay longer, he confessed. He is known for being fashionably late to everything. Anko has told me a lot about him. He stood her up one night and she was furious, I said with an amused sigh. Naruto chuckled. I see, well then I will be fashionably late as well. 3 hours later, Sasuke and Sakura were frustrated. Their teammate and sensei were late. Kakashi suddenly appeared, smiling like a madman. You're late. Sakura yelled at him. Sorry, I was lost on the road of life, Kakashi replied with a bigger smile. Liar. Sakura yelled again. Naruto then appeared, looking rather bored. You're late, Sakura yelled at him as well. Nope, you're just early. Kakashi clearly said 9 a.m. You were too busy asking me on a date to remember, Haruno, Naruto said with a fake glare, making the girl gulp and nod her head. Kakashi smirked at this. I did say 9, didn't I? He asked, playing along and making Sakura and Sasuke widen their eyes. You two can work on your hearing later. For now, let's start the test, he said, pulling out 2 bells. You 3 have until 1 o'clock to get these 2 bells. If you don't get a bell by that time, you will be tied to a post, get no lunch, and be sent back to the academy, Kakashi said, pulling out an alarm clock and setting it by 3 boxes of food. You can't do that. Sakura yelled. Yes, I can. I'm the Jonin, and you're just Genin, Kakashi said dangerously. Now begin, he instructed them. Sasuke and Sakura vanished into the trees, but Naruto stayed there and undid his cloak. You're different than I thought you were. I thought you wanted to be a real shinobi? Real shinobi hide and plan accordingly, not run straight into a fight headfirst, Kakashi said, mocking him, trying to get under the boy's skin. There is no point. As I know the real meaning behind this test, Naruto said quietly, unsheathing his katana. Is that so? Kakashi asked, pulling out a little orange book and beginning to read it. Yes, it's teamwork, isn't it? Naruto replied. Kakashi widened his lone eye, but soon it closed, and he gave Naruto an smile. Yes, but if you know this, it means teamwork. Why are you not asking your teammates for help then? Kakashi asked him. Because there is no point. Sasuke thinks of himself as an elite who doesn't need help, and Sakura is not useful. So, I'm going at this solo, Naruto replied, pointing his sword toward Kakashi. Lava release, corrosion, he stated calmly. Kakashi looked up from his book, widening his eyes as he watched the kid's katana suddenly glow orange. He knew he couldn't let the boy cut him with that. I think that should do. Prepare yourself, Naruto yelled and vanished from sight. Kakashi looked around and suddenly saw 3 large lava-covered rocks flying at him, only for them to disappear. Die! Naruto yelled, appearing right in front of Kakashi and cutting the book in his hands in half. No! Kakashi yelled, attempting to attack the boy, but Naruto vanished once again. I'll deal with that brat later, Kakashi thought angrily as he lifted his headband, revealing his Sharingan to his 3 students. It's on now, Kakashi said, scanning the area until he found the boy in a tree to his left. The death of your teammates has made you weak, Kakashi Hatake. My father would be disappointed in you, a voice suddenly whispered in his ear. Kakashi gasped in pain as he took a large haymaker to the left side of his face. Naruto flashed to the other side of him and sent a large knee to his gut, but Kakashi went up in smoke. Shadow clone, what a cool little trick, Naruto said, leaning his head back to block a punch from Kakashi. He stomped on Kakashi's foot and slashed at his Jonin vest, which began smoking as Kakashi vanished once more. Another shadow clone. I think I'll play around with him some more and call it quits. He'll pass us anyhow. The council would put him on punishment for not passing the Uchiha. So my chances are looking pretty good, Naruto thought with a chuckle, blocking a kick from Kakashi and pointing his katana toward him. Lava release, redshift, he stated calmly as the orange hue on his katana vanished, transforming into a large ball of lava that shot off the tip of his blade like a cannon. Sheet! Kakashi yelled in his mind as he was hit with the ball of lava. He had to substitute with a log at the last second, and the lava collided with a tree, blowing half of the training ground up. Wire good, kid, Kakashi said, huffing. You are as well. Sorry about my little comment about your teammates. I needed you to take me seriously, but I think we are done now. I'm going to let you take on the Uchiha. I can feel his elite ego getting closer, Naruto said, tossing him a little orange book. Sorry about that as well. You can have mine, I don't care for it, Naruto said and vanished. Kakashi smiled to himself. I think I may just like this team after all, he thought, putting his Sharingan away and beginning to read his new book. Sometime later, Sasuke had his head stuck in the ground, and Sakura was knocked out by a weak genjutsu. Naruto found this extremely funny as he walked past Sasuke. Get me out of here. Sasuke yelled at him. I don't think I will, Naruto replied, continuing to walk. I demand you get me out of here, fox. Sasuke yelled. This made Naruto stop. Oh, did I hit a nerve, nine-tailed fox? Sasuke asked with a smirk. Naruto turned his head, his eyes red with slits, scaring Sasuke. It would seem that I struck a nerve in you. You're probably scared right now. You may want to clean that up, I have lunch to eat, he said and vanished. Naruto then appeared at Ichiraku Ramen and took a seat. Kakashi was there as well, eating and talking with Anko. Naruto-kun, you're here. I said, a big smile on her face. Kakashi looked at him and sighed. You're supposed to be doing my test, he said to Naruto. Naruto reached into his cloak and removed 2 bells. It won't be over for another hour, he said, unsealing his lunch and beginning to eat. Kakashi looked down and gasped. How the hell did you get them? He asked in slight awe. When I cut your book in half, it allowed me to grab them when you lashed out and tried to hit me. Anko spit her noodles out and began giggling. Ha, you pervert, she said to Kakashi. Kakashi hung his head and sighed. it, he muttered. Well, I guess you passed then. Want to send shadow clones to wrap the test up early? Kakashi asked him with a grin. Naruto shrugged and made a seal-less clone, sending it on its way. Kakashi smiled and did the same. So, you're Naruto, huh? Anko asked, not knowing Ayam had told him her little secret. Yes, and you're still beautiful after all this time, Anko-chan, Naruto replied with a grin, his eyes closed. Anko blushed and turned to Ayam, glaring at her. You said you wouldn't tell him, she said with a pout. Well, I was hoping he would get mad at you and tell you off so I could have him all to myself, but Naruto-kun is still the most surprising person I have ever met, Ayam said with her own pout. Oh, both Naruto and Anko said, neither angry, just surprised. What are you 3 talking about? Kakashi asked. Anko blushed more and grinned. 2 years ago, I had a mission and was ambushed by some IWA ninja. I barely managed to hang on when I returned to the village. Naruto-kun saved me and healed me. It was wonderful. He knows how to treat a woman even if he was inexperienced, she added. Naruto blushed and began to eat faster. Kakashi made an "oh" sound and didn't say anything further. Anko, he was 12 for goodness sake, Yugao said as she appeared and sat down next to Naruto. I was 13 actually, and you know the saying, old enough to kill, old enough to be with someone, he said with a small grin. You only just now became a genin, kid, Kakashi finally spoke up. Naruto nodded. Perhaps, but my kill count hit 17 at the age of 5, he replied. True, Yugao said for Kakashi. My clone just popped, it's safe to say Team 7 is a go, Kakashi said with a smile. Later that night, Kakashi Hatake was currently talking with Sarutobi about Naruto Uzumaki, wanting to know everything he could learn about the kid. I see, Sarutobi said quietly. Naruto-kun is miles above any genin and chunin in terms of power, IQ, and battle experience. He is even stronger than most of my jonin as you witnessed firsthand, Sarutobi remarked, causing Kakashi to blush in embarrassment at the reminder of nearly being defeated by a 14-year-old. Yeah, don't remind me. Tell me, though, what can the kid do? Kakashi asked the old Kage. Naruto-kun excels in 3 areas, taijutsu, kinjutsu, and ninjutsu. Genjutsu is a tricky area for him, but he can do it. Him whispering in your ear about your old teammates and making the lava rock jutsu vanish was all done by genjutsu, Sarutobi explained with a smile. Are you sure he doesn't just excel in all 4 areas? Because both of those genjutsu caught me off guard. They had to be way above genin level, rank if I had to guess. Kakashi responded. They are, but Naruto-kun only knows those 2 genjutsu, Sarutobi replied. I also think he doesn't want to learn more, he likes fighting for real. Without illusions, he added. I see. There is also the lava release he has. I knew he had it, but I didn't think he would be this good with it. He only used it in conjunction with his katana. I would have just left it at that, but that genjutsu you just mentioned tells me he can do more with it. That lava rock jutsu looks oddly familiar, like I've seen it somewhere, Kakashi said, trying to remember. Lava release, scorching steam rocks. A jutsu that can only be used by Son Goku, the 4-tailed ape, and his Jinchuriki, Naruto said as he appeared from the floor, his signature pit of lava beneath him. Kakashi widened his eyes at this. He remembered facing the 4-tails Jinchuriki back in the 3rd Great Ninja War. How do you know it? Sarutobi asked, curious. Kurama and Son Goku are brothers. Kurama and he were rivals. All the tailed beasts are rivals with Kurama, but anyhow, trying to get a one-up on Son Goku, Kurama taught me the jutsu. A watered-down version of it, but my lava release is strong, and combined with my high chakra reserves, I can do it just as well as Rashi can, Naruto said with a smirk. Interesting. Well, I look forward to watching you use it in the future, Kakashi said with an eye smile. As do I, Naruto-kun, Sarutobi said, proud of him. So, Naruto-kun, what brings you by? Sarutobi then asked, taking a drag from his pipe. I want to learn Fuinjutsu, Hokage-sama, Naruto replied. I see, Sarutobi said, removing a book from his desk and tossing it to the kid with a smile. Minato wrote that when he was your age. It is yours now, my friend. Naruto thanked him and left the room. 3 months later, Team 7 had just finished their 3rd D-rank mission for the day and were at Hokage-sama's office to get another one. Naruto suspected today was the day either Sakura or Sasuke would voice their concern and try to get a higher-ranked mission. His thoughts would not betray him, as Sakura soon loudly shouted at the old man. Stop with these childish missions, give us a real mission, she yelled at Sarutobi. And I agree. An elite like me shouldn't have to babysit some useless orphans, Sasuke said, crossing his arms. Sarutobi sighed and turned to the only genin in the room, who was more than ready. Do you want a higher-ranked mission, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked him. Naruto shook his head honestly. But that is not my decision, Hokage-sama, he told him. Kakashi heard this and nodded. They are not ready, but I think it would help them gain some experience in the field, Kakashi said to Sarutobi. All right, send him in, Sarutobi instructed his assistant. She nodded and left the room. Seconds later, she returned with an old drunk man in tow. I hired real ninjas, not some brats. Though, the one with the blonde hair looks like he can get the job done, he said with a smirk. Sakura went to charge at him in anger but was grabbed by Naruto. Lashing out at the client will get us nowhere. You want a higher-ranked mission? Then behave, he hissed at her, putting her back on her feet. Sakura gulped and nodded. "Ichen, I'm an elite. I'm not a brat," Sasuke said smugly, but was ignored as Sarutobi began to explain the mission to them. "This is Tazuna. He is a bridge builder and has asked for our help in escorting him back to the Land of Waves. This will be a C-rank mission. You all leave first thing in the morning," Sarutobi said. Kakashi nodded. "We will protect you with our lives, Tazuna-san." The old man grumbled and left the room. Kakashi smiled and beckoned for his team to go pack and get ready for tomorrow. "I need to talk with Naruto-kun," Sarutobi said to him. Kakashi nodded, and he and the rest of Team 7 soon left the room. "Naruto-kun, this is for you," Sarutobi said, tossing him a scroll. "The Hidden Mist has asked for our help in capturing Zabuza Momochi. It will be a B-rank mission," he informed the blonde. "I guess he has been seen in Wave if you're trusting me with this?" Naruto asked. Sarutobi nodded. "Yes, he has," he confirmed. "Do you think he could be after Tazuna?" "The man is clearly lying," Naruto inquired this time. Sarutobi slightly widened his eyes. "Perhaps, I didn't think that far into it," he admitted quietly. "I will look into it and get back to you. I'll send you a message," he added. Naruto nodded at this. "How do I get in contact with the Mizukage?" Naruto then asked. I'll look into that as well and get back to you," Sarutobi said. Naruto nodded and pocketed the scroll. "Tell Kakashi of my mission. I don't want him killing the man if we run into him." The next day, Team 7 met up at the West Gate early that morning, and Tazuna soon arrived as well. "Sakura, Sasuke, Naruto, you guys ready?" Kakashi asked them. The three genin nodded, and they set off toward Wave Country. "Is there any ninja in Wave, Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura soon asked her teacher. "No, only the 5 great nations have ninjas. Though, some backwater countries have them, such as the Hidden Rain Village or T. Even then, they are hardly strong enough to be on our level. You have Hokage-sama to thank for that," Kakashi explained. Sakura nodded, thinking, Hokage-sama is really cool. Sometime later, as they walked, a puddle appeared before them in the middle of the road. "It hasn't rained here in weeks," Kakashi thought. "Genjutsu," Naruto thought, silently removing his katana. He then watched as Kakashi prepared for the unexpected. "Kakashi-sensei!" Sakura yelled as her sensei was killed right before her eyes. Sasuke wasn't doing so well either. "One down," one of the 2 men said as they emerged from the puddle. Naruto smirked, realizing who they were. "The Demon Brothers, so Zabuza is here. Good," he thought, turning to his 2 teammates. "Stay with Tazuna," Naruto ordered. 3 more to go, Gozu, one of the Demon Brothers, said as they began to move toward Naruto. Naruto vanished, and Gozu looked around for his target but was suddenly stabbed through his gut. He gasped and spat out a clump of blood. Naruto removed his katana and ducked to avoid a poisonous kunai from Meizu, Gozu's twin brother. "Gozu!" Meizu yelled, rushing to help his brother once he realized he had been stabbed. Naruto then bounced back up from his ducked position and grabbed Meizu in a headlock, beginning to choke him. Meizu thrashed around, trying to free himself, but his face soon turned blue as Naruto squeezed harder. Unable to take it any longer, Meizu passed out, and Naruto dropped him, turning his attention back to Gozu. Gozu was barely getting to his feet, still bleeding heavily. "Why you won't catch me off guard this time? I'll kill you," he shouted in pain, charging at Naruto. With a sigh, Naruto made quick work of him, cutting off his head with his katana. "You can come out now, Kakashi," Naruto said, lifting Meizu onto his shoulder. "Hee, good job, Naruto." "Good job to both of you as well, Sasuke, Sakura," Kakashi said sheepishly as he appeared. "Substitution jutsu," Sakura muttered, still terrified after watching her teammate take down an opponent so easily. "It's a nifty little trick, if I do say so myself," Naruto said with a grin, tossing Meizu's body to Kakashi. "Wake him up and get your answers. I'll be over here cleaning my katana." Naruto walked to a nearby tree and found some leaves to clean the blood off his sword. "Give me that blade, I could use it better than you can," Sasuke demanded. Naruto looked at him and smirked. You say something?" he asked sarcastically. Sasuke gritted his teeth and stomped up to him. "I'm tired of you disrespecting me, Nine Tails. You will give me what I want, or I'll finish what Lord Fourth started." Sasuke shouted. "Sasuke-kun, stop this!" Sakura yelled, not wanting her teammates to fight. Kakashi watched the two with mild interest. He had already asked Meizu why he was there. It seemed someone was after Tsuna's head. Naruto smirked. "You and the entire Uchiha clan. Speaking of Uchiha, your worthless family tried doing the same thing. Look what happened to them, all dead at the hands of a single person," he replied, his smirk widening. Sasuke snapped at this and charged him. Naruto sidestepped and slammed Sasuke's face into the very tree he was leaning on. Sasuke held his bloody nose in pain, beginning to tear up. "What a crybaby," Naruto said, sheathing his now clean sword. He walked over to Kakashi, who shook his head with a sigh. "Why do you antagonize him?" he asked. Naruto shrugged. "It's fun, and he may just get it through his thick head that only Konoha can help him get strong. By seeing me do better than he can, he'll realize that someone far more powerful than me helped me achieve my level of battle prowess," he explained quietly. Kakashi widened his lone eye, recognizing Naruto had a good point. "Though, even then I fear he may defect. He is unstable, and that's coming from a Jinchuriki," Naruto added with a small chuckle. "Well, it's my job as a Leaf Jonin to make sure he doesn't then," Kakashi replied with a smile. "Perhaps," Naruto said. "Perhaps." A few hours later, after convincing Kakashi to continue the mission so he could fulfill his own, Naruto, Tsuna, and the rest of Team 7 set off toward Wave. They had just gotten off a boat. The boat driver couldn't take them that far without alerting Gateau. Gateau was a businessman who would do anything to get what he wanted. He wanted Tsuna dead so he could prevent the bridge from being built to the mainland, hiring Zabuza and the Demon Brothers to take out the old man. As they walked the rest of the way to Wave, Naruto noticed something in the bushes. Sasuke seemed to notice it too and threw a kunai at it. A scared white rabbit soon made its appearance. "What the hell is wrong with you, Sasuke?" Sakura yelled, punching him across the face. "Oh, let me eat it, kid. I love white rabbit." Kurama yelled at his host. Naruto sighed, an amused sigh but a sigh nonetheless. "No, we cannot eat it. But a white rabbit in the summer wouldn't be possible unless it was caged up," Naruto thought, and Kakashi had similar thoughts. Suddenly, the entire area filled with mist. Naruto felt a massive amount of killer intent wash over the area and smirked. "He's here," he said aloud. Kakashi nodded but had to warn his other two students. "Duck," he yelled. Sakura ducked and had to pull down Sasuke, while Naruto shifted his body to the side as a large sword swung at them. The mist died down for a moment. "Kakashi of the Sharingan, never thought I would meet you here. No matter, hand over the old man, and none of you will be killed," a man said, his headband turned to the side and white medical tape covering the lower half of his face. "It would seem you and Hokage-sama were right all along, Nano. What do you want to do now?" Kakashi asked the blonde, ignoring Zabuza. "Take Tsuna to Wave, I'll deal with Momochi," Naruto replied. Kakashi nodded and smiled. "Good luck, Naruto. Be safe, and when you're done, meet us at Tsuna's house," he said, grabbing his other students and Tsuna. They vanished in a swirl of leaves. Zabuza dashed toward Kakashi, but Naruto intercepted him with a sharp knee to his gut, making Zabuza stumble back in pain. "You'll be dealing with me, don't worry about that old man," Naruto said, removing his black cloak. He put the cloak in his backpack and tossed it up in the air, the straps flinging around a tree branch and staying there. "Some strength you got on you, kid, but removing something as useless as a cloak won't help you," Zabuza said, pulling his executioner's blade from the ground. "Perhaps, but not if that very cloak has been harboring gravity seals for the last 3 months. I suspect my speed and strength have increased. Shall we test it out, Zabuza?" Naruto asked with a smirk that would linger in Zabuza's memory. "Aichin, let's," Zabuza replied, charging at him. The fight began as Zabuza swung his blade down at Naruto, who vanished like a ghost, leaving only an afterimage behind. This move caught Zabuza off guard, causing him to jam his sword into the ground. He pulled on the blade to get it unstuck, only to receive a hard knee strike to his midsection as Naruto reappeared beside him. Gritting his teeth, Zabuza flung a kunai at the boy, but Naruto knocked it away with his hand, giving Zabuza enough time to leap onto the water. Water release, multi-water clone jutsu, he shouted. 17 clones of Zabuza emerged from beneath the water, staring down at Naruto. 17, huh? What a peculiar number, he remarked with a grin, unsheathing his katana and flicking the blade forward. Naruto charged at the clones as they rushed toward him. You use a blade as well. No matter. You aren't good enough to take down my clones, so give up, boy, Zabuza taunted from behind the group. Ignoring him, Naruto began cutting down the clones one by one until only the real Zabuza remained. You were saying? Naruto asked with a glare, feeling frustrated at being underestimated. Zabuza gritted his teeth in anger and quickly formed hand signs. Water release, water dragon bullet, he yelled, and a large dragon made of water appeared, charging at Naruto. The blonde jumped back and resheathed his katana, flipping through his own set of hand signs. Lava release, slaying fire dragon, he declared loudly, summoning a large dragon made of lava behind him to charge at the water dragon. Zabuza widened his eyes. He had seen Mei Terumi use that jutsu many times. The lava dragon cut straight through the water dragon and continued its advance toward Zabuza. The man gritted his teeth and resorted to a technique he hadn't used in a long time. Fuinjutsu, chakra-eating beast. Zabuza yelled, performing an unusual hand sign. A large, all-black monster suddenly arose behind him and swallowed the lava dragon whole. Naruto was stunned. He had never seen such a technique. However, he smirked as Zabuza dropped to his knees. That technique seems to tire you out. This mission is now complete, Naruto said seriously. Zabuza then looked up at the trees behind him. Haku, let's go now, he shouted. Naruto's eyes widened slightly as a mirror made of ice appeared, and a masked figure with long black hair stepped out. The figure grabbed Zabuza and pulled him inside the mirror, which shattered, leaving Naruto all alone. Darn it. Well, better luck next time then, Naruto said, slamming his foot onto the ground, causing the trees to rattle and his backpack to fall into his hands. He pulled out his cloak and put it on. Time to go see the others, I suppose, he said, tossing his bag over his shoulder and moving quickly toward Kakashi's location. Half an hour later, Naruto found Kakashi. He knocked on the door, and Tazuna opened it. You're back, he said in surprise, leading Naruto inside. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I had to wrap things up early, he replied, scanning the room until he spotted Kakashi and the others. Naruto, I take it you got him? Kakashi asked. Naruto sighed and shook his head. No, he had backup. Someone who uses ice release and did this weird ice mirror jutsu that allows her to teleport, he explained, sitting down. Well, what are you going to do now? Kakashi asked. I guess I'll wait it out until he returns. I'll see if I can have the Mizukage show up early, Naruto said, removing his lunch from his pack and beginning to eat. I'll just train Sasuke and Sakura here, and when the time comes, we'll help you out, Kakashi said with a smile. What are you guys talking about? Sakura asked. Kakashi looked at Naruto, who smiled and began to explain everything to her. Hokage-sama gave me an A-rank mission to capture Zabuza for the Mizukage, he told her. Why would he give you that mission when I'm more suitable to handle it? Sasuke asked angrily. Kakashi and Sakura sighed, thinking, here we go, the princess is starting his antics. Naruto stared at Sasuke and smirked. Well, I don't know. Maybe Hokage-sama thought giving a solo mission to the Rookie of the Year was better than giving it to a second placer, he teased, leaning forward on the table. Second placer has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? He asked, leaning back in his chair. Sasuke glared at him and began to shout, but Naruto ignored him as Kurama began to speak. As much as I enjoy hearing you make fun of the second placer, I have something important to tell you. She is alive. I felt her chakra the moment you stepped into the wave. Who, Kurama? Naruto asked, standing from his chair as a little boy entered the room, claiming they were all going to die and that Gateau was a monster. Your mother also has your sister with her. That girl shares my chakra, Naruto. She has my young half, Kurama informed him. Naruto gritted his teeth quietly, thinking, I was prepared for this. Us Uzumaki are stubborn as hell. He grabbed his backpack. Kakashi, I'll be back later. There is something here that needs my attention, he said. Kakashi nodded. All right, Naruto. Good luck. Later that night, Naruto found Kushina and his twin sister in Yuzu. He should have known they would be there. The place looked like it had undergone repairs in recent years, leading Naruto to believe that Kushina had begun rebuilding the Uzumaki clan village. Hokage-sama would want to know about this, though he might already know Kushina and my sister are alive, he thought. Just then he barely managed to duck under a glowing gold chain. He backflipped to the ground, landing on one knee as the user of the chain followed him down, stepping into the light. Kushina, Kurama growled, thrashing around in the seal. Naruto gritted his teeth as red chakra threatened to leak from his body. Kurama, calm down, he yelled in his mind, standing to his feet. He had a hood covering his face, so Kushina could not recognize him. Who disturbs me and my Naruto-chan, you hooded man? Kushina demanded. So her name is Naruto. I rather like my name better, even if the only difference is one whole letter, Naruto said with a hidden smirk. Kushina didn't think much of his words and growled, demanding to know who disturbed her and her Naruto-chan. After all this time, she had suspected he was alive, but she would have never guessed he was out here rebuilding their clan. He smirked, revealing a hidden joy in his expression. When he finally removed his hood, his smirk transformed into a small smile. Hello, Kasen, he said. Kushina's eyes widened in shock, and she fainted. He quickly flashed over to her and caught her before she fell. Well, that was unexpected, he murmured quietly. He gently laid her against one of the newly constructed buildings and made a seal, placing it on her forehead. You will forget about this night entirely, Kushina. You will forget seeing me and will never see me again. Nor will I see you, he said softly. The seal glowed red and vanished from her skin. With that, he stood up and disappeared into a pit of lava as he felt his sister's chakra approaching. Kachan kachan. Naruto yelled, soon finding her mother's unconscious body. She shook Kushina awake, and Kushina blinked her eyes open, confused. And Naruto-chan, W? 1 week later, it had been a whole week since Naruto returned from Yuzu. For the entire week, he had done nothing but watch Tazuna build his bridge. This morning, he got up early to take a shower. He was drying himself off when there was a knock at the door. Naruto-kun, breakfast is done, Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, called from the other side. They had met the other night when he came home. She was a sweet lady who loved her father and son dearly. Naruto smiled, wrapped a towel around his waist, and opened the door. Tsunami-san, I'll be down in a minute, he assured her. Tsunami blushed at the sight of him shirtless and hid her face. Oh, Naruto-kun, she stammered before rushing down the stairs. Naruto chuckled as he closed the door, amused by her reaction. He got dressed and laughed again when he heard her scold Kakashi for teasing her about blushing at his student. Perverts will only ever get what they deserve, he said to himself with a grin. Tsunami-san is pretty attractive, especially in that cute little apron she was wearing. Later, Naruto walked down the stairs fully dressed, his outfit unchanged except for the new cloak he wore. It was black with the kanji for Maelstrom written in white on the back, with white flames liking the bottom. He had it made after Irika told him of his unofficial nickname, wanting to let enemies he had spared know about the Hidden Maelstrom. I like the new cloak, Naruto-kun, Tsunami said, her cheeks flushed. Naruto flashed her a foxy smile and nodded. Thanks, Tsunami-san. I've had it for a while now, I just never found the time to wear it. Today seemed like a good day since I'm just guarding Tazuna-san at the bridge, he explained, still smiling. Tsunami blushed further and hurried into the kitchen after handing him his food. He chuckled as he sat down, grabbed a fork, and began eating. I told you she liked him, Kakashi said to Sakura with a knowing smirk. Sakura groaned, feeling it sounded like something about attractive blondes attracting single mothers. Naruto grinned. What can I say? Attractive women catch my eye. Later that day, Naruto sat by the bridge with a fishing pole in hand, catching and releasing fish to pass the time while keeping an eye on Tsume, who was working diligently. Naruto-kun. Sakura called as she ran up to sit beside him. I finished my training. Kakashi-sensei told me to come here and help you watch over Tsume. Though, those 9 clones of yours looked like they meant business and assured me you had things under control, she said. Yeah, that man is annoyingly drunk already, so I made some clones to watch his back while I did other things, he replied with a small grin. Like fishing? She asked, giggling. Naruto's grin widened as he nodded. Like fishing, he confirmed. Sakura continued to giggle as she swung her legs back and forth, gazing at the water. Can I ask you something personal, Naruto-kun? She inquired. Yes, you can, he replied. What happened between you and Hinata-san? She asked, worried the question might upset him. Naruto sighed. Our parents set up a marriage contract before we were born, but I opted out for other reasons, he explained. What other reasons? Sakura pressed. Naruto sighed again. I wanted out. I didn't like her at all. She is strange, a bit obsessive, and I'm pretty sure she has some odd tendencies, he said. Sakura giggled at his words, encouraging him to continue. So, I backed out of the marriage contract, but Hayashi and the Hyuga elders weren't keen on letting me go. That was until Hinata caught me with Katsumi-chan a year ago. She swore I was cheating on her and wanted a divorce, so her father ripped up the contract, and we came to an understanding. Sakura's eyes widened in surprise. Why you were with Katsumi-sensei? She asked, astonished. Naruto nodded. I got detention for fighting Kiba in Izuka, and well, I ended up with his sister. Katsumi-chan was my detention teacher, and things escalated from there, he said with a smirk. Naruto, I think you may be a bit of a flirt, Sakura said, her cheeks pink. Everyone has their quirks, some just hide them better than others, he replied. Sakura blushed, never considering it from that perspective. So back to our earlier conversation, she said, trying to shake off her embarrassment. If all this happened a year ago, why does she still dislike you now? She asked. I figured she would have moved on, he said. You would be right, but my bloodline was made public knowledge afterward. She hates me because I am in the Clan Restoration Act program. She thinks I took what was rightfully hers, a powerful child who could potentially have lava release. Sire? Sakura asked, confused. Yes, the Clan Restoration Act. I am one of the few remaining Uzumakis in the entire elemental nations, and since I have lava release, that increases my potential wives by 2. So in 2 years or so, I will need 5 wives, he said with a sigh. Diamin, Sakura exclaimed. How many do you have right now? She asked. None, Naruto replied with a shrug. Sakura nodded at this and remained silent. Suddenly she asked him, would you take me? Naruto sighed and shook his head. I don't like younger women for that reason alone. Older women are more open to settling down and having kids. I need that, not a 13-year-old whose life has only just begun, he told her seriously. I understand, she said sadly. Did Sasuke say something to you? Naruto asked quietly. He told me that I would be alone for the rest of my life and that no one likes me, she replied, tears now in her eyes. I see. Well, don't listen to him. He has burned a lot of bridges with people he has met over the years. If anyone will be lonely for the rest of their lives, it will be him, Naruto said with a smile. Sakura widened her eyes at this. Why you think so? She asked in surprise. I know so. Unless some weird guy with pale skin comes along and confesses his undying love for the brat, then I honestly think he'll be alone for a long time, he said with a smirk. Sakura giggled at this and nodded, but suddenly, mist began to fill the air. He's here, Naruto thought and silently ordered his clones to bring Tsume to him. Naruto jumped to his feet and cracked his neck. Help my clones protect Tsume, he told her seriously. What about Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Naruto closed his eyes. He is on his way here. He just dealt with 2 shinobi trying to attack Tsunami-san and Inari-san, he said, pulling her out of the way as a large demon wind shuriken flew through the air. Protect Tsume, Naruto said once more and pushed her behind him. Well, kid, ready for round 2? Zabuza asked with an evil glare as he and Haku appeared just before him. Naruto smirked and muttered something. Release. Zabuza heard this and smirked himself. Your little gravity seals won't work here. Haku-chan is far faster than you will ever be, he said to the blonde. Naruto smirked. You know the art of the demon of the mist, but you know nothing of how Fuinjutsu really works. I doubled the weight of the seals, thus making me far faster than I was the last time we fought, Zabuza. Your little companion is already out of the fight from where I'm standing, Naruto said, removing his katana. Prepare yourself, Zabuza yelled and sent Haku in to charge at the boy. Naruto charged her, and kunai clashed with katana. Sakura had to shield her face from the wind that blew wildly around them. She widened her eyes as Naruto pushed forward and broke the clash. Haku was knocked off balance by this move, and Naruto frighteningly grabbed her mask and yanked her head up to meet his red-steeled gaze. I can explain, Zabuza suddenly shouted, his face twisted in horror. Zabuza Momochi, you will return to Kiri, along with Haku Yuki, a red-headed woman yelled at him as she and 2 other men appeared on the bridge. Looks like you'll live today, Naruto said, pushing Haku over towards Zabuza. Naruto Uzumaki, I presume? Mei asked as she turned her gaze to the blonde, a look of respect and power in her eyes. Naruto nodded and bowed to her. Yes, Mizuki-sama, he said, finding himself suddenly snuggled between her arms. You're so cute, Mei exclaimed, squeezing him tighter. Look alive, Sasuke Uchiha is here, the Uchiha yelled as he and Kakashi walked onto the bridge. Lady Mei let him go. The boy needs air, her guard said with a sigh. Mei let go of Naruto and looked to Ao, while Sasuke gritted his teeth, frustrated by the lack of fighting. Where is all the fighting? I demand an opponent, he yelled. Ao, Mei said in a sickly sweet tone. Sasuke, Naruto said with a bored glare. Shut up before I melt you, they both said angrily, then looked at each other and raised their eyebrows. Say that again? Mei asked him. You first, Naruto replied, crossing his arms. How about at the same time? Mei suggested. Naruto nodded, glaring at Sasuke while Mei glared at Ao. Shut up before I melt you, they said in unison. Mei and Naruto grinned at each other. Want to go have some fun? She asked. Naruto shrugged. I'm down, but I need to take care of this first, he said, leaving her confused. Look at what we have here, boys. It seems Zabuza has found out about our little plan and called for backup. No matter, capture the children and the woman, a short man yelled as 25 men charged toward Naruto and the others. Naruto picked up his katana and vanished. Lava release, corrosion, he yelled out as he reappeared, cutting down Gateau's men, some even catching fire. Within just a few seconds, all 25 men were either dead or burned to a crisp. That's a new record, 25 men in 5 seconds, Naruto said with a smirk, turning off his corrosion jutsu and resheathing his katana. You killed them all? You killed them all, the short man, whom Naruto presumed was Gateau, backed away, muttering. You're a monster, he yelled, almost falling back into the water. The only monster here is you, Gateau, and I have just one last thing to say before I take your life, Naruto said with a glare, using Kurama's chakra to intimidate the tiny man. What? Gateau asked, frightened. Rasengan, Naruto said with a smirk, blasting a spinning blue ball of chakra into his gut, sending him into the water. Well, that takes care of that. The next morning, Naruto woke with a smirk on his face. There lay a naked Mizuki next to him. Hokage-sama will be shocked when he hears about this, he thought, looking to his other side. There lay a naked Tsunami, which made Naruto smirk even more. Once again, the old monkey is going to be shocked when he hears about this, Kurama said with a grin. Naruto sighed. You're finally talking with me now, huh? He asked the fox. Sorry, kid. I was out of line. Kushina set me off. She should have never left you. I hope my young half is giving her and that sister of yours a hard time, Kurama said to his friend. Heh, I can only hope so, Kurama. Well, I'll deal with those two at a later date. I didn't want to, But with Hokage-sama telling me about them coming to this year's Chunin exams, I may just have to. I've always been good at avoiding annoying people, so I'll just add 2 more to the list of people I don't particularly like. Naruto-kun, you're up early, Mei said with a grin. I always get up early. It's how we tailed beast containers are, he replied with his own grin, putting some clothes on. Mei giggled and nodded. Do you want to get married? She asked him. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. This is a bit soon, don't you think? He replied, putting on his black long-sleeve shirt. Mei sighed and nodded. I know, but I'm the only lava user in the Hidden Mist. I'm also the only boil release user there as well. So, you can understand why I'm asking you this. Even if we just slept together, she explained, beginning to put on her own clothes. Naruto nodded, understanding exactly where she was coming from. All right, but I'm already in the CRA program. Though I have yet to start working on it, I have 2 whole years, so I'm just biding my time, he told her. Mei nodded. Well, I like women. Tsunami can attest to that, she said with a grin. Don't remind me, Tsunami muttered into her pillow, her face flushed. You know you liked it, you were screaming Mei-sama and Naruto-sama pretty loudly, the red-haired Kage said with a smirk. Don't remind me, Tsunami muttered again into the pillow. Naruto chuckled. Leave the poor woman alone, Tsume. It was my fault for walking to the bathroom like that. She was up and well, you know, he said with a smirk. 1 week later, the bridge was completed, and Mei went back home, saying she would meet him at the Chunin exams. She also mentioned wanting to start on their marriage contract, something Naruto was still trying to wrap his mind around. He had opted out of one already, but Hinata and Mei were 2 completely different people. Maybe he would be alright with this, he wasn't sure. Team 7 had also returned to Konoha a few days ago and were just now arriving home. Tazuna named the bridge the Hidden Maelstrom, and Naruto was perfectly fine with that. They soon arrived at Hokage's office and knocked on the door. He told them to come in. So, how was your mission? He asked. Kakashi explained the entire mission, with Naruto filling in the blanks. However, he left out the part about sleeping with Mei and Tsunami. Sarutobi nodded and sighed. Good job, you 3. Kakashi, lead them to get their payment. Naruto, we need to talk, he said to the blonde. Kakashi nodded and led Sakura and Sasuke out of the office. What's up? Naruto asked. Sarutobi placed a scroll on his desk and opened it. I received a message from Mei. She said you fulfilled your mission to the best of your ability. She also wants to marry you. Mind explaining that part? He asked with a smirk. There's no point in beating around the bush, so I'll put it this way. I had a DM with her and Tazuna's daughter. It was only supposed to be with Mei, but I made the mistake of bumping into Tsunami while going to the bathroom, Naruto explained, still smirking. I see. That is why Tazuna gave you more money than Sakura and Sasuke. Mei also bumped your mission up to an A rank from a B rank, so you are getting extra money from her. Plus, I mentioned the marriage thing. I guess she talked you into it, Sarutobi said with an amused sigh. More or less. She has lava release and another bloodline. Her council is trying to marry her off to Kumo, but I've become more soft-hearted in the last few weeks, and I offered to become her husband, Naruto said with a small smile. I think you are as well. You wouldn't have agreed to this last year, Sarutobi remarked. I couldn't if I wanted to. I had that whole business with the Hyugas. Plus, I wasn't in the CRA yet, so I wasn't open to a political marriage back then. I am now, and I already had a connection with her. Her attitude matches mine perfectly. Plus, we share lava release, which makes me more than happy to do this with her, Naruto replied. It's also good for the village. We need more alliances if we truly want peace in the end. Sarutobi nodded. Right you are. I'll set this up and see when she wants to do the ceremony. Ichiraka Ramen. 1 hour later. After talking with Sarutobi some more, Naruto made his way over to his favorite food shop. I'm back, he said with a smile. She turned around and grinned. How did the mission go? She asked, handing him a bowl of ramen. She had seen him walking with his team earlier and had his favorite waiting for him. Meh, it was all right. I met a nice lady there. Her name is Mei, he said, breaking his chopsticks apart. He noticed I am sigh sadly, which made him sigh as well. Hey, how do you feel about going on a date? He asked her. Ayam widened her eyes. What? What about this Mei lady? She asked in surprise. I'm in the CRA, I can take multiple wives. 5, to be exact, he told her with a smile. Really? Well, count me in. I've had it with the male population of this place, Anko Mitarashi said as she entered the ramen shop. Naruto nodded. I was going to ask you anyway, you were actually the first person I intended to ask. However, Mei moved my plans up by asking for a political marriage. So I better get started now rather than later, he said with a smile. Like I said, count me in. No. You're the only male here to ever satisfy me the way I wanted. I've had countless encounters after our little meet and greet, and not one of them held a candle to the time with you. So, will you marry me? Anko asked with a grin. I should be the one asking you that, Naruto replied with his own grin. But let's do it. He then turned to Ayam. So, how about it, Ayam? He asked with a smile. Ayam looked at Anko, who smiled back and then nodded, her decision made. Yes, Naruto. Let's do it, she told him with a smile of her own. 3 months later. Dear Anks, that was all Naruto did for 3 whole months. However, it gave him the perfect amount of time to get to know Ayam and Anko much better. He was also biding his time for when the Chunin exams would roll around, and today just happened to be the day he would receive that news. No missions for today, you guys, but I do have these for you, Kakashi said to Team 7, handing them each a sheet of paper. What's this? Sakura asked, looking at the paper in confusion. Most likely the Chunin exams form, Naruto replied from his seated position. You would be correct, my friend, Kakashi said with a smile. All 3 of you must agree to partake, if not, none of you can take it. See ya. He then vanished in a swirl of leaves. Sakura, don't fail me. I need this, Sasuke demanded as he leaped to the rooftops. Sakura clenched her fist, feeling her irritation rise. Sasuke had been getting on her nerves for weeks, ever since their mission in Wave, and it only seemed to get worse. Like I said in Wave, Sakura, don't mind him. He's a loser with an elite ego, Naruto said, standing up. Sakura giggled at this and nodded. What about you? Will you be partaking in the exams? She asked him. That depends on you, Sakura. If you want to go, then most likely I will too. If not, I'll just go ahead and put in my 2-week notice and try for a field promotion, he told her. You can do that? She asked in surprise. Yeah, Hokage-sama will give any genin with about 20 completed missions a set of tests to achieve. Much like the exams, but much harder and more complicated, he explained with a smile. Well, then it's settled. Chunin exams it is, Sakura said, determination in her voice. Naruto chuckled and patted her on the shoulder. See you there, then, he said, sinking into his pit of lava. Sakura ran home soon. After to sign her slip. Later that day, Hiruzen sighed heavily as the one person he did not want to see was in his office. Kushina Uzumaki and her daughter. So, where is the demon brat? She asked, and of course, the first thing she wanted to know was where Naruto was. Naruto is probably training or on one of his many dates with either Anko Mitarashi or Ayam Ichiraku, he told her with a sigh. So the demon is a pervert? Should have known, Naruto scoffed arrogantly. Not a pervert, but rather a CRA participant, Hiruzen said, already fed up with the two. Huh, for what? Being a demon? Kushina asked. No, for having the lava release bloodline, Hiruzen replied, quickly losing his temper. Lava release? Kushina asked, her eyes widening. Are you sure? Hiruzen smirked and nodded. Kushina's eyes widened even more. Just like Kitojiji, she thought. And no matter. He can't hold a candle to my Uzumaki sealing chains, Naruto said, breaking Kushina from her thoughts. Wanna bet, little girl? Hiruzen asked. No, I won't have my only child fighting him, Kushina yelled, though her words did not match her thoughts. Kitojiji could wipe the floor with Hashirama on a slow day. If Naruto has his bloodline and is good with it like I suspect, he could very well defeat Naruto without breaking a sweat, she thought. Hiruzen smirked. I'll just have him fight you in the exam. Lord only knows he wants to take you both on, Hiruzen said in a rather mischievous tone. Kushina gulped. He'll be in the exam? She asked, a hint of fear in her voice. Ah, yes he will. I suspect he knows you're here as well, so you'll be seeing him very soon, Hiruzen said, chuckling wildly. Elsewhere, as Hiruzen talked with Kushina about her former son, Naruto was having a conversation of his own. Are you going to kill them? Anko asked him, knowing he had mentioned his mother and sister being there. No, I said avoid them. Avoid is entirely different from kill, Anko-chan, he replied with an amused sigh. I know, I just don't want you to get in trouble for taking out two useless nobodies, she said, giving him a quick peck on the lips. I know, but I honestly just don't want anything to do with them, he said, leaning back onto his bed. Anko lay next to him, resting her head on his chest. Well, that's for the best, Naruto-kun, she said, using her new nickname for him. Naruto liked it and encouraged her to keep using it. So you're going to be the second proctor for the second part of the exam, huh? He asked her. Anko nodded. Yeah, but don't expect any handouts from me, lover boy, she said with a smirk. Not even for a week of free dango? You know I have the money to buy the place outright, he teased. Throw some romance in there, and I'll see what I can do, she replied, looking into his blue eyes. All right, you asked for it. Later that night, after spending time with Anko, Naruto woke up with a slight headache. He decided to go for a walk to clear his mind. As he walked the streets of Konoha, he wore a rather annoyed expression. He sensed an unwanted presence behind him, which only served to irritate him further as the person would get close and then back off. Kushina, come out before I lose my patience, he yelled, prompting the redhead to reveal herself. Kid, something is off, Kurama said to him. Off how? Naruto asked his fox friend. Off as in she has my other half. I can't explain it, Kurama replied. Naruto sighed. Naruto. Kushina called out. Yes, what do you want? He asked, continuing to walk. Kushina turned and walked beside him. I want to apologize for what I did to you, she said sadly. After all this time, you want to do this now? I'm surprised, but then again, you're hiding something. So let's make a deal. You tell me something I want to know and I'll forgive you, he said, knowing it would get her off his back for a while. What do you want to know? She asked, seemingly eager. Naruto raised an eyebrow but decided to press on. Why do you have Kurama's young half? He asked. Kushina gulped, her face paling in discomfort. Naruto has his young half, or is there something going on here? He pressed further, noticing her growing unease. Well, you see, I gave birth to her, but for mainly one reason, she said with a sigh. And that would be? Naruto inquired. I made her to forget about you, she confessed. Naruto stopped walking and turned to her, confusion etched on his face. You made her to forget about me? He asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Kushina nodded. Yes, Danzo Shimura made a deal with me. If I were to leave Konoha, he wouldn't try to turn you into a weapon, she said to him. So, I had a sample of Minato's DNA, and well, I made a new baby and I gave her a quarter of Kyubi's young half. She is a year younger than you are, but nowhere near as strong, Kushina then told her son. Naruto widened his eyes at this. That would explain why Kurama said his young half felt weaker in Naruto, but how did you hide his chakra in you? Naruto asked, forgetting that he wiped her mind clean. Though it didn't work. Uzumaki trade secret, and your little seal didn't work on me. Though, I'll give you an A for effort, Kushina said with a grin. So you don't hate me? He asked. No, I put my trust in Danzo to hold true on his end of the deal. But I was sadly wrong, she said through gritted teeth. Naruto sighed. Danzo never came after me in that way. Hokage-sama was pretty good at keeping him off my back. Though, Danzo certainly didn't make things easier for me by leaking my status to the civilian council. Sarutobi told me he knows my little secret as well. Though, he does not like Naruto very much, she said with a small sigh. She hates me, I presume? Naruto asked. She kept pestering me about where the other half of Kyubi is. I told her Minato sealed it in him, but that only lasted so long as she felt Kyubi in you. She thinks you're weak because of my fake hatred for you, Kushina told him. Naruto nodded and sighed. Tell her to keep that same energy. I must be going now, Kushina, he said. You still hate me, don't you? Kushina asked. I never did, he said and sunk into a pit of lava. Just like Kitojiji. The next morning, Naruto met up with Team 7 early that morning, and they looked rather amped up for the exams. You're late, Sasuke said angrily. A black cat crossed my path, and I had to take the long way around, Naruto replied with a fake smile. Sasuke gritted his teeth and walked into the building. Sakura and Naruto smirked at one another and began to walk inside as well. Someone has his lady parts in a twist, Sakura said with a grin. If he even has any parts to begin with, I think he may be an alien, Naruto said with his own grin. Sakura burst into a fit of giggles at this. Inside the tower, dispel the genjutsu, now, Sasuke yelled at the two Chunin as Team 7 got to the supposed third floor. You idiot, the genjutsu is meant to weed out the weaklings, Naruto said with a sigh. Sakura didn't detect it but would take Naruto's word for it. It would seem you caught us. Well, fine, one of the Chunin said and dispelled the genjutsu. You moron, Naruto muttered and began to walk up the stairs. Wait, someone yelled. Naruto turned and saw three genin that he knew from his only time backing out of the genin exams. It's been a while, Naruto, one of them said. Yes, it has, Tenten. What do you all want? He asked her. Well, we just wanted to know how you were doing, and Lee wants to, well, she began to say. Are you Sakura? Rock Lee asked Naruto's pink-haired teammate. Sakura said, not sure what was going on. Marry me, my love, he yelled and bowed to her. Sakura blushed heavily and went to say no. She then remembered Naruto's words to her about Sasuke. Let's get to know one another first before I make that decision, she told Lee with a bigger blush. Naruto smirked. Good for you, Sakura, he thought. Lee grinned at her and then turned to Naruto. Fight me, Naruto-kun, he said with a thumbs up. Tenten slapped her forehead at this. And he told us not to pick fights, she thought with a sigh. I want to see how powerful Naruto-kun has become, though, she then thought. She had a small crush on the blonde back in their academy class together. Though, he all but vanished before the genin exam and failed. She knew he could pass. He was miles above Niji in the Rookie of the Year part. He proved it again by becoming Rookie of the Year the next year, in the class below them. Niji Hyuga had other thoughts. So Naruto has made it this far. However, fate has declared that I will beat you this time, he thought. Naruto shook his head at least some time after this, but he soon smirked. I can't, but Sasuke can. Ain't that right, second placer? Naruto punched the Uchiha in the back, knocking the wind out of him. Sure, whatever you say, Sasuke wheezed out, not sure what he was saying. Lee grinned. Sasuke Uchiha, the second genius to come out of your class. I'll beat you and prove myself to Sakura-san, Lee said and began to walk somewhere. Elsewhere, Kakashi and Anko were currently laughing. Naruto had pinned Sasuke in a corner that he could not get out of. Hiruzen was laughing too. Enough of that for now. I called you both here to ask you something important about Naruto-kun, Sarutobi said seriously. What would you like to ask, Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked just as serious. How strong do you think Naruto-kun is as of right now? You two know him the best, I would ask Ayam, but she knows nothing about ninjas, he asked the pair. Anko gritted her teeth at hearing her name. That little troublemaker is going to get it, her and Kurenei Yuhi, she hissed out. What happened? Kakashi asked. Hiruzen wanted to know as well. This was news to his ears. Kurenei team got Ayam to believe Naruto-kun was really a demon, and she cheated on him with some JRK civilian. I plan to tell him everything. She swore secrecy to me, but I've never been one to follow the rules, Anko said with a haunting smirk. Kakashi just nodded, and Sarutobi did as well. Tell him after the exams, or at least before the finals begin, Sarutobi then said. Now, where do you rank Naruto? He asked them. Mid to high Jonin when I first got him as a student. He was low Jonin, but he has improved greatly since then. Far better than Sasuke, who's only mid Chunin at best, Kakashi told them, being brutally honest about it as well. The old Kage nodded. This was wonderful news. Since you added Sasuke, where would you place Sakura? Hiruzen suddenly asked. Well, low Chunin. Naruto has helped her a lot in recent months. He has been having someone teach her medical ninjutsu, Kakashi told him. Aniki-chan down at the hospital, Sarutobi told him. Naruto went in for his genin physical 6 months ago, and he returned 3 hours later. Sarutobi remarked with a small smirk that he was pretty sure the young man had left a good impression on the girl, as she had requested to be his full-time doctor for everything. Anko, with pride in her voice, expressed her admiration for her boyfriend, wiping away an anime-style tear from her eye. Both Kakashi and Sarutobi exchanged glances, thinking simultaneously that the two truly belonged together. Hiruzen then turned to Anko and asked how strong she believed he was. Anko confidently replied that he was a high jonin, mentioning that he had easily defeated her in a sparring match. Hiruzen nodded thoughtfully and inquired about when she thought he would reach Kage level. Kakashi chimed in, stating that it was hard to tell, but the young man had formed a bond with the fox spirit and had a good friendship with it. He concluded that while it would be soon, he couldn't pinpoint an exact time frame. Anko added that with Orochimaru's possible return, who was after Sasuke, they would soon see what he was truly capable of against an S-rank ninja. Meanwhile, in the exam tower, Naruto and Sakura were dragging an unconscious Sasuke with them to the 3rd floor. Kakashi greeted them joyfully, but his expression shifted to concern as he noticed Sasuke's condition. He asked what had happened, already knowing the answer but wanting to hear it again for amusement. Naruto explained that Sasuke had been knocked out cold by a right hook from Rock Lee, humorously referring to him as Gateau. Kakashi tried to maintain a serious demeanor, telling them to lean Sasuke against the wall inside, assuring them he would wake up eventually. Naruto opened the door and dragged Sasuke inside, following Kakashi's instructions. Sakura entered and playfully kicked Sasuke in the leg, just because she felt like it. Kakashi and Naruto exchanged grins, and Kakashi wished Naruto good luck, hinting at something Jiraiya had mentioned. Naruto narrowed his eyes, sensing that something was about to happen, but he couldn't quite figure out what it was as he stepped fully into the classroom. The atmosphere was thick with killer intent from the other genin, but Naruto merely smirked. Suddenly, a blonde girl rushed past him, crashing into Sasuke and waking him up. Sasuke groaned about his head, while another girl, Hinata, yelled at Ino to back off, claiming Sasuke for herself. Naruto and Sakura exchanged looks, with Sakura commenting that at least Ino had found someone to focus on. Naruto expressed his relief at not having to deal with Ino. Just then, Kiba Inuzuka glared at Naruto, vowing that he would pay for what he had done to his sister. Naruto, ignoring Kiba, turned to Sakura and asked if she was going to sleep with anyone's sister during the exams. Sakura smirked and teased him about it. Naruto replied that he was happy with Anko and had no interest in anyone else. Kiba, still fuming, warned him again. Naruto then taunted Kiba about his sister, which only made Kiba angrier. Just then, a large man with a scar on his head entered the room, commanding the students to take their seats and be quiet. His name was Ibiki. Naruto found a seat next to a red-headed girl with glasses, who introduced herself as Karen Uzumaki. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the mention of another Uzumaki. He wondered why he hadn't been informed about her existence but decided it wasn't worth dwelling on. He introduced himself, and Karen's eyes widened in surprise, realizing there were more of her family left. She asked if they were related, to which Naruto replied that she would have to ask his mother. He pointed out his little sister, Naruko, who was in the back corner of the room, and Karen was taken aback by Naruko's orange jumpsuit. An hour later, Ibiki announced that all the genin had passed. A blonde girl from Suna questioned the purpose of the 10th question. Naruto felt compelled to explain that it was meant to weed out those who weren't ready for the challenges ahead. The girl blushed, finding him attractive. Ibiki confirmed Naruto's explanation, emphasizing that those who couldn't handle the pressure had left, which reflected poorly on their teammates. Just then, a purple streak burst through the window, revealing Anko, who greeted Naruto enthusiastically. He chuckled at her arrival, and Ibiki commented on her early entrance. Anko, undeterred, declared that she would cut the number of students in half and instructed them to meet her at Training Ground 42 in an hour, warning that anyone who was late would be disqualified. As she jumped out of the window, Naruto prepared to teleport to her but was interrupted by the blonde from Suna, who complimented his name. Before he could respond, a red-headed boy named Gaara pulled the blonde, Temari, away, and Naruto exchanged a glance with Gaara. As Gaara's killer intent filled the room, Naruto mirrored it, causing Gaara to flinch. With a smirk, Naruto walked past him, disappearing in a swirl of flames, leaving Temari in shock at the unexpected turn of events. "Are you okay, Gaara?" she asked. "Don't worry about me, you never have before," he replied angrily before vanishing in a swirl of sand. Temari sighed and turned to her other brother. "Let's go, Kankuro. We don't want to give him any more reason to want to kill us." 1 hour later, after explaining the rules to them, the genin received their scrolls and prepared to enter the forest of death. Anko pulled Naruto aside. "You may encounter Orochimaru," she warned. Naruto's eyes widened. Was this what Kakashi meant? "Please be careful," she added, concern evident in her voice. "I will, Anko-chan. If he is here, don't do anything reckless," he assured her before heading back to his teammates. Anko grabbed his chin before he could leave, and their lips met. "I love you," she said. "I love you," he replied before vanishing into the forest. Deep in the forest of death. "Naruto, it may be time to do that thing we've been discussing," Kurama spoke up. "Are you sure, Kurama?" Naruto asked his bijou partner. "Yes, if he shows his snake face, I want you to rip the seal off for good," Kurama insisted. Naruto sighed and nodded. "Okay, Kurama," he said quietly. Sakura and Sasuke did not hear him, which was good. "Maybe, Naruto-kun, you may just find out my little secret," Kurama thought as the fox transformed into a beautiful woman with red hair. "No, you will definitely find out, my handsome maelstrom," she thought with a smirk. Suddenly, Naruto pushed Sakura out of the way as a kunai flew straight toward her, aimed at her head. "Look what we have here, boys. A bunch of Konoha genin. One of them looks like that man as well. We'll kill him and get our revenge for IW," a large man declared as he and 3 others appeared, all looking to be in their mid-30s. "For IW," the 3 men shouted as they charged at Naruto. He sighed and performed a few hand seals. "Lava release, scorching steam rocks," he muttered. Instantly, 3 large lava rocks shot from his mouth, striking the IW genin. "Sheet!" they yelled, and they were defeated instantly. Naruto approached the 3 bodies and grabbed their scroll, which turned out to be a heaven scroll. "Well, that was quick," he thought, already having an earth scroll. "Let's head to the tower, we got what we came for," he said to Sakura and Sasuke. "Okay, but I have to use the bathroom," Sakura said. "As much as I want to say no, so do I," Sasuke sighed. Naruto nodded. "Don't go too far, I'll be right here," he said, watching them walk off. A few minutes passed when suddenly, a giant snake charged at him. "Sheet, he's here," Naruto muttered, dispatching the snake effortlessly. "Naruto, it's time. Meet me in the seal," Kurama instructed. Naruto closed his eyes and nodded. When he reopened them, he found himself in his seal. "It's been a while since we last saw one another, Naruto-kun," a female voice called out. "Kurama?" he asked, unsure of what was happening. A beautiful red-headed woman in all black stepped into the light, sporting fox ears and 9 bushy tails flickering behind her. Naruto sighed heavily. He should have seen this coming. "So, you're really a girl?" he asked her. "Why, yes, I am. My real name is still Kurama. So call me Kurama-chan," she replied in a flirtatious tone. Naruto nodded. "So, how long have you been a girl?" he inquired. "Well, my whole life. We bijou were born with genders, though Konoha doesn't tell you that," she explained, pointing to the paper seal binding her. "Remove that," she urged. Naruto nodded and began to do so, but a hand grabbed his wrist. "I can't allow you to do that, my son," the voice of Minato Namikaze said. Naruto glared at him, grabbing him by the neck. "Disappear," he said angrily. Minato's eyes widened before he went up in flames. "Aha!" he yelled, but Naruto snapped his fingers, cutting off the fire. "Shut up and behave, Namikaze. I'm going to release Kurama-chan whether you like it or not. I can't beat Orochimaru without doing this. I need the power to make him vanish for good," Naruto declared, ripping the seal off. The gate opened, and he was hugged moments later. "My handsome little maelstrom, it's so nice to finally be able to touch you," Kurama purred, rubbing her cheek against his. Minato widened his eyes at the alluring redhead and his son. Lucky BSD, he muttered. Kurama-chan, that power you mentioned, Naruto asked with a sigh. Kurama nodded and released him from the hug, holding her fist out and smiling. Bump fists with me. But before you do, I would like to explain this new power I'm going to give you. First, we start with KCM, or simply Kyubi Chakra mode. Naruto Uzumaki was a dear friend of mine and had that mode when using my chakra. It increased her speed, strength, and much more. Let's just say she was more impressive than those stupid books allowed you to believe, she explained. Naruto nodded. So I'm getting this KCM? He asked. No, your chakra is much more powerful than hers. This means I can do a lot more with you than I could with her. The mode I'm giving you will put KCM to shame. I'm calling it Byron Mode. Usually, you would get this Byron Mode by colliding our chakra together, killing both or one of us. But that is where your powerful chakra comes in. I can collide our chakra together, and you can withstand the backlash, keeping us both alive, she told him. This first use will only last half an hour, make it count. Then we can up your training and make it last longer. Naruto nodded. I can have him dead to rights in less than an hour. A few minutes is all I need to deal with him, he said with a smirk, growing more excited about this Byron Mode. Are you sure this is a good idea? Minato finally spoke up, asking his son. Yes, I'm 14 years old. I'll be 15 in a month. I've lived alone most of my life and made my own decisions to sen, he replied. Minato sighed and nodded. Take care of Kushina-chan and Naruto-chan. I know you can do it, he said before vanishing. Naruto bumped fists with Kurama, and a blinding red light filled his vision. When the light faded, Byron Mode appeared, wrapping around Naruto like a red cloak. He looked cool and Kurama smirked. Wonderful. Now go kill that snake, she urged, kicking him from their mindscape. Naruto reopened his eyes and felt the power of Byron Mode surge through him in a matter of seconds. He felt much more relaxed and confident, thinking he could wipe out an entire village. This would be fun, he thought as he vanished in a red flash. He soon reappeared in front of Orochimaru and landed a huge uppercut to his jaw, sending him flying. Naruto-kun? Anko asked, having shown up to help Team 7 take on Orochimaru. She had been worried when Naruto was not with them. Sakura mentioned they had gotten separated when she and Sasuke went to use the bathroom. Anko-chan, sorry I'm late. I was busy, he replied calmly, sending a part of his chakra cloak to catch Orochimaru before he hit the ground. Please stand back, I want to finish this as quickly as possible, he instructed Anko. She nodded, still in awe. She thought to herself that he and the fox were one. He had done it. She quickly grabbed the other two genin and moved out of his way. Orochimaru broke free from the chakra cloak's grip and glared at Naruto. So the demon fox has made amends with the demon brat? How sweet. This power is tremendous. You should receive my gift instead of Sasuke-kun, the former Sannin said, charging at Naruto. In response, Naruto charged up his lava release, Rasengan, vanishing in a red flash. A loud explosion soon rang out from the forest. Anko widened her eyes as the smoke cleared, revealing Orochimaru lying in a large hole in the ground. Naruto stood over him with his katana in hand. Kill him now! Anko yelled. Naruto nodded and plunged his katana into the traitor. Orochimaru was dead, and Naruto felt exhausted. Kurama, are you still with me? He asked as he fell to one knee, his Byron Mode fading. It worked. It really worked. Kurama exclaimed, jumping for joy. Naruto chuckled. Any personal damage? He asked between pants for air. No, other than both of our chakras taking a massive drain. You're good, just out of breath, she replied. When will your chakra return? I know you regenerate slower than humans do, he inquired. That is true, and it should take a few days. Since I don't have any, you're not healing as fast. Your chakra will be full in a few days, Kurama explained. Naruto nodded, feeling a pair of arms wrap around him. You're all right, and you killed him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anko cried into his back. He turned around and hugged her, feeling her tears on his cloaked chest. I'm all right, Anko, just out of breath. Yes, I did kill him, he said, noticing her curse mark still glowing on her shoulder, which made him grit his teeth. He had to remove it and quickly. This is going to make me pass out, but I have to do it, he thought and grabbed her shoulder. Anko-chan, get me to the tower once I pass out. I'm almost out of chakra, and I'll be using the rest of it to get rid of your curse mark, he told her. Anko nodded, looking into his eyes, thrilled at the prospect of getting rid of it after so long. Evil containment seal, he yelled, a green chakra glowing around him. He pulled his hand back, and the seal came right off her skin. He grabbed an empty scroll from his cloak, sealed the curse mark into it, and locked it away. For days later, Naruto jolted awake and looked around. He was in an all-white room. Hospital, he muttered. Yes, after sealing Anko's curse seal into that scroll, you passed out from chakra exhaustion, Sarutobi said as he stood up from his chair. Did I pass? Naruto asked. Sarutobi nodded. Yes, you did. In fact, the preliminaries started a few minutes ago. I postponed your fight for later, but you seem ready to go. Your chakra is back, but I want to see you in my office afterward. I have something important to ask of you, he told Naruto. Naruto nodded and watched as the old Kage poofed away, a shadow clone. He got up, put on some clothes, and then grabbed his cloak, vanishing in a swirl of flames. He soon appeared next to Kakashi, where Sakura was fighting Ino, and Sasuke was absent for some reason. I see you're awake. How was your nap? Kakashi asked with a smile. Good, the blonde replied, removing the scroll he had sealed Anko's curse mark into. It burst into flames and melted in his hand, making him smirk. Good riddance. Naru-kun. Anko yelled as she appeared in front of him and tackled him to the ground. Hi, she said with a grin as she sat in his lap. She then got up and helped him to his feet. Anko-chan, how do you feel? He asked with a small smile. Amazing, thanks to you. I feel whole again, she said, kissing him passionately. You're welcome, he replied as they parted lips. So, what's the news around Konoha? He asked her with a grin. Well, rumor has it that a certain blonde killed Orochimaru, she said with a matching grin. Sometime later, after talking with Anko some more, the two watched the fights together and shared affectionate moments. Ino and Sakura both lost due to a double knockout. Naruto defeated Harem Uzumaki, and Temari had beaten Tenten. Naruto Uzumaki vs. Kiba Inuzuka. Hayate announced from the arena. Naruto teleported to the arena and awaited his opponent. Huh, did you hear that, Akamaru? I get to take revenge on Naru team. Kiba yelled, only to trip down the stairs, making everyone, including his sister and mother, laugh at him. Ow, my head, he muttered, hopping to his feet. He walked over to the arena and stood across from Naruto, getting into his fighting stance and glaring at him. Start the match, he growled. Hayate sighed and jumped back. Please begin, he said. Fong over Fong. Kiba yelled, spinning like a drill toward Naruto. A swirling blue glow surrounded Naruto's fist as he called out a technique no one had ever heard of before. Raisenkin, he growled, punching Kiba directly, sending him crashing into the wall. Naruto looked at Hayate and smirked. I don't think he is getting up anytime soon, he said, putting his hands in his cloak pockets. W winner, Naruto Uzumaki, Hayate announced, looking at Kiba's knocked-out form. Someone get the medics, he added with a sigh. Naruto smirked more and flashed back next to Anko. What the hell was that? Sakura asked him, having seen the Raisenkin but never that. Raisenkin, it's a technique that shrouds my fist in swirling blue chakra, he explained. It's like the Rasengan, but in punch form and it's less powerful, Naruto told her, a smirk still on his face. Kakashi smirked under his mask, having just come up with an idea for a new Chidori-style technique. Kurenei Yuhi approached him, accompanied by Hana and Tsume Inuzuka. What did you do to my student? She growled. Yeah, what the hell is wrong with you, Naruto? Hana asked angrily. Payback would be the simplest way to put it, Naruto replied. Payback? Tsume asked, her anger rising. Yes, Minato cheated on my mother while she was 4 months PRGNT with me. He did it with you, though there were others, he explained to Tsume. Tsume's eyes widened as she turned to Hana. You told him, didn't you? She asked her daughter. Nope. Mom left me a note the day she left, explaining a few things to me, one of them being how Minato cheated on her and with whom, Mikoto Uchiha, Hitomi Hyuga, and you, Naruto said. Hana's eyes widened. Some had not shared all that information with her. What about me? Kurenei asked, wanting to know what his payback on her was about. I am Ichiraka cheated on me with some idiot, all because you made her see what half of this village sees. You think I'm a demon and now she does too, he stated, sitting down. No more questions, he added firmly. What about me? Hana asked again. I said no more questions, he replied, sending a powerful wave of killer intent at them. The three gulped and backed away, while Naruto smirked and turned to Anko. What were we doing before we were interrupted by the dog boy? He asked. She smirked, pulled him next to her and kissed him. Naruto kissed back, and they broke into another makeout session. Kakashi-sensei, let's go somewhere else, Sakura suggested. I feel like we shouldn't disturb them. Kakashi nodded, knowing Anko would be furious if he did. 1 hour later. I want to thank all of you who participated in the Chunin exams this year, and I also want to wish good luck to those who made it to the finals, Sarutobi stated with a smile. You all have 1 month to prepare for your matches. The matches are as follows. Match 1, Naruto Uzumaki vs Naruto Uzumaki. Match 2, Niji Hyuga vs Sasuke Uchiha. Match 3, Kankuro vs Shino Aburame. Match 4, Temari vs Shikamaru Nara. The winner of Match 1 will go on to face Gaara of the Sand, Sarutobi continued with a smile. There were groans from some of the matches, mostly from Shikamaru. As Naruto was getting ready to leave, a hand on his arm stopped him. Don't hurt her too much, please, Kushina pleaded. Naruto nodded as he turned to her. I can try, but I can't make any promises. She thinks I'm a demon, even if we are both tailed beast holders. Speaking of which, if she uses Kurama's chakra, I will retaliate with my own, he told her firmly. Kushina sighed and nodded. I'm training her for this month. I'll try to make her see you in a new light, she assured him. Naruto nodded in response. You do that, Ma. You do that, he said before vanishing. Few minutes later, Naruto was sitting in Sarutobi's office, waiting for him. The door opened, and the old Kage walked in. Naruto-kun, you're here. That's good, he said, walking over to his desk and sitting down. I'm getting too old for this hat, Naruto-kun, he added. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle. You're retiring soon, I suppose? He asked. Sarutobi nodded and smiled at him. That's why I want to ask you what your thoughts on becoming Hokage are, he explained. Naruto nodded, realizing it was a good time to tell Sarutobi his feelings. You know, it used to be my dream back in the day, but I can still proudly say that it still is, Naruto confessed. But for different reasons now. I used to want respect and for people to acknowledge me. Now, I want peace rather than something for my own selfish reasons, he said with a smile. Sarutobi nodded, pleased. Good, that is what I like to hear, he said. That is why I want to make you my new successor, Sarutobi declared proudly. Naruto's eyes widened. This could elevate his name among the best. It would be an honor, but are you sure this is a good idea? He asked, concerned about the civilians rather than the shinobi, who were a bit more understanding of his predicament. Sarutobi was about to respond when Yugao Uzuki burst into the room. Sasuke Uchiha has been found dead, she said seriously. Both Naruto and Sarutobi widened their eyes. Did he give Sasuke the curse mark? Naruto asked Sarutobi. Yes, but I was going to ask you to remove it when you got a chance, Sarutobi confessed. This is bad, Orochimaru is alive. What do you mean he's alive? Yugao asked, and Sarutobi wanted to know as well. The reason I removed Anko's mark is because I love her, Naruto said with a soft smile. However, I also removed it because it was glowing, and I could feel his chakra threatening to break free from the seal. I think he created the curse mark to bring himself back to life if he were to die, Naruto explained as he stood up. Yugao and Sarutobi widened their eyes further. Who was watching over Sasuke? Naruto then asked. Hey, Sarutobi replied, and Yugao's eyes widened. He is not dead, she said. Then let's pay him a visit. Chapter end. Sometime later. The village had been put on lockdown, and word of Sasuke Uchiha's death had become public, along with news of Orochimaru's potential return. Immediate blame was placed on Naruto Uzumaki for not doing a good enough job of eliminating the snake and for not removing the Uchiha's curse mark as he had for Anko Mitarashi. Naruto knew the day would only get worse and that something significant was about to happen. Naruto, Yugao, and Sarutobi arrived at the torture and interrogation department, where Anko and Ibiki were also present. They were all there for one thing. "Hey, did you manage to get anything from him?" Sarutobi asked Ibiki. "No, other than that Kabuto Yakushi blindsided him," Ibiki replied. Sarutobi sighed at this. "Then, I knew that kid was up to something." "He must have been a spy for the snake," Anko said, clenching her fist. "Well, Hokage-sama, would you like to ask him a few questions?" Sarutobi asked Naruto with a grin, despite the seriousness of the situation. Ibiki, Anko, and Yugao widened their eyes at this. Naruto sighed. "I have not agreed yet, but sure. Kurama-chan mentioned during my little one-sided fight with Kiba that she felt something off about Hayate," Naruto said. Sarutobi nodded, then widened his eyes in surprise. "Kyubi is a girl?" he exclaimed. Naruto nodded. "It came as a surprise to me as well, but she has been good to me so far in my short life. So, I'm okay with it," he replied with a chuckle. "Ah, I love you too, Naruto-kun," Kurama spoke up. Naruto smiled to himself and stepped toward the cell where Hayate resided. "Open it," Anko instructed Ibiki, who nodded and complied. The cell opened, and Naruto walked inside, finding Hayate sitting with his head down. Hayate raised his head and gulped as he saw Yugao enter behind the demon. "This is not good, I need to lie my way out," he thought. "Hayate, Naruto-kun is going to ask you some questions. Please ensure that they are all answered. If you lie once, I will have him kill you. Fiancé or not, the safety of Konoha is more important than us as a couple," Yugao said in a tone that demanded respect. Hayate gulped again and nodded. "I'll do it," he said quietly. Naruto smirked, noting how SBMSSV Hayate seemed. "Are you working for Orochimaru?" Naruto asked, crossing his arms. "And no, but we made a deal with one another," Hayate confessed. "What kind of deal?" Yugao inquired. "For turning a blind eye to his upcoming invasion of the Leaf, in exchange for him leaving me and you alone. Orochimaru-sama would let us live," Hayate explained. Yugao clenched her fist, anger rising within her. Naruto narrowed his eyes. "What invasion?" he asked sternly. Hayate glared at him. "An invasion to kill you and Sarutobi," he said, his glare intensifying. "Hokage-sama, I understand, but why kill me?" Naruto managed to ask before Yugao slapped Hayate. "You piece of work, I'm done with you. Naruto-kun, be a sweetheart and deal with him after getting more information," Yugao shouted as she walked out of the cell. "Hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn," Naruto said with a chuckle. "You did this, demon brat. It's all your fault." Hayate yelled at him and struggled against his HNDCFFS, his feet shackled to the ground as well. Torture and interrogation don't mess around, Naruto thought. If Sarutobi had given Orochimaru-sama his rightful spot as fourth Hokage, none of this would have happened, Hayate yelled at Naruto. The blonde's ears perked up at this. Now this was interesting. So, he plans to attack the village in blind rage because he didn't get his way? Naruto wondered, finding the situation amusing. "I figured this would happen one day," Sarutobi said as he walked into the room. Hayate glared at him as well and spat at his feet. "Suna is attacking Konoha too. They are fed up with the way you have treated them," Hayate said. "Thank you for telling us that as well." "Deal with him, Naruto-kun," Sarutobi said with a smirk. Naruto nodded, and in mere seconds, Hayate's head rolled across the ground. It all happened so fast that Sarutobi barely saw Naruto move. The boy was faster than he had originally thought. "You're getting faster," the old Kage remarked, and Naruto nodded with a smirk as he sheathed his katana. "My gravity seals are being fed chakra, so they all vanished in the forest when I passed out from chakra exhaustion," the blonde explained. Sarutobi smirked and nodded. "You may want to keep them off if my old student's invasion is still taking place," he advised, and they both soon walked out of the cell. "Is he dead?" Yugao asked. Yes, I'm sorry, Yugun, Naruto said, feeling bad for her. It was never a good feeling when a loved one betrayed you. Yugao nodded sadly. It's okay, he seemed off the last few months, like he was hiding something. I guess this was it, she said. Just then, Danzo Shimura, Hamura Mitokado, and Koharu Yuditane entered. All three were Sarutobi's old friends and advisors, accompanied by 20 Umbu, all root members. What is the meaning of this, Danzo? Sarutobi asked his old teammate and friend angrily. Danzo smirked and looked toward the demon brat. Naruto Uzumaki, you are to be arrested for the murder of Sasuke Uchiha, he declared, ignoring Sarutobi. Naruto closed his eyes, dismissing the shouts of protest from Sarutobi and Anko. I knew something big was going to happen. I guess it's time I take another trip from the village. A permanent one, he thought as he removed his katana once more, his eyes opening to reveal a fierce determination. Danzo called for his men to capture him. Root, catch him and lock him in a cell, he ordered. Yes, Danzo-sama. All 20 Root Umbu responded in unison, moving toward the boy. I love you, Naruto told Anko before jumping back, flicking his sword into the air. Lava release, corrosion, he yelled, pointing his 1000-degree katana at the advancing Root Umbu. Let's dance. With that, Naruto vanished from his spot in a burst of speed, cutting through the Root Umbu with ease. Bodies hit the ground, and the scene was a true massacre for the spectators. They watched in shock as the last Root member fell, and Naruto came to a stop, turning to them. Sir, I resign as a shinobi of Konoha as of right now. Whether that be as a free man or a missing nin that has yet to be seen, he declared before vanishing in a swirl of flames. Sarutobi grit his teeth and knocked Danzo out with a left hook. Anko, Yugao, Ibiki. Gather as many tracking Umbu and Jonin as you can find. I want Naruto Uzumaki brought back, and I want him alive, Sarutobi ordered the three. Yes, Hokage-sama, they replied before vanishing in a swirl of leaves. You two will pick Danzo up and come with me. We're going to a council meeting and I want the three of you present, he instructed his old teammates with a glare. Hamura Mitokado and Koharu Yuditane gulped and nodded. Why yes, Hokage-sama, they both stammered. Meanwhile, Anko, Yugao, and Ibiki began gathering their retrieval squad. Anko-chan, I don't know what to say, Yugao told her friends sadly. Anko smirked. You don't have to say anything. If we find Naruto-kun, I'm going with him, she declared. What about Konoha? Yugao asked quietly. I don't care. Naruto-kun has done more for me than the village has. He removed my curse mark, Yugachan. The old monkey went on and on about how no one could remove it, and Naruto-kun did it with no trouble, Anko said. Yugao nodded in agreement. I will get you to him. You two leave, and I'll turn a blind eye. But you owe me, Anko-chan. After withdrawing all the money from both his and his father's accounts, Naruto sealed every last bit of the 500 million ryo into a scroll. He needed money to settle down somewhere, and he made sure he had plenty of it. Quietly, he made his way out of the village. Naruto-kun, where are we going first? Kurama asked. Yuzu, Naruto replied. We'll stay there for a month, then we are returning. I want to kill Orochimaru, but I will not help Konoha during the invasion, he explained. Why Yuzu? She inquired. I remember reading something in one of the books about my old clan. No normal sensors can sense what goes on in the village, and I can use your chakra without Konoha being alerted, he told her with a smile. What about Kushina? What if she's there with your little sister? Kurama asked, concerned about the potential complications. Naruto nodded. I'll deal with them if they are there, though I think Jiraiya of the Sannin is helping Kushina train Naruto for the month. 1 month later, Naruto's predictions proved correct. Kushina was not there, giving him the entire month to master Byron Mode. Though he didn't need it to defeat Orochimaru now, he had significantly increased his strength and power. He was now a Kage in his base form, an achievement that meant a lot to him. During this time, Naruto also turned 15 and grew an inch. He kept a close eye on Konoha, where they had marked him as a mission nin. He had also eliminated at least 40 root umbu sent after him by Danzo while the old Warhawk was imprisoned for the murder of Shursui Uchiha. Karma is a challenge, he thought with a smirk as he hid in the crowd, waiting to see who would fight his sister. Naruto Uzumaki versus Niji Hyuga, the proctor announced. Oh, this should be interesting, he remarked. Interesting indeed, said the person sitting next to him, Mei. What are you doing here, Naruto-kun? She asked quietly. Why aren't you in the Kage booth, Mei-chan? Naruto countered. Touché, Mei replied with a grin. But seriously, why are you here? She pressed. Orochimaru is alive, and he needs to be dealt with, Naruto stated. Mei nodded. It was a valid reason. I see. Well, I'll answer your question then. I'm a shadow clone. My real body is up there sitting next to Razadano, she explained. Naruto looked up at the Kage box and confirmed that she was indeed sitting there. I see. You should know that the person you're sitting next to is not the Kazekage, he informed her matter-of-factly. I see. I better relay my findings to the real me then. It was good seeing you, Naruto-kun. Don't be a stranger and visit Kiri anytime. It will be our little secret, Mei said before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Naruto smirked. I better go find Anko-chan. I know she has been searching for me. This fight is boring. Niji loses to a Uzumaki once again, he thought, vanishing in a swirl of flames. He soon reappeared on top of Konoha's Hokage mountain. He was not alone, as someone appeared across from him. Why come back after all this time? It was Sarutobi, who sensed Naruto's chakra the moment he arrived in the hidden leaf. To kill Orochimaru for good. I found a way to end him and any curse mark he has ever placed on another soul, Naruto declared, removing the hood that concealed his face. Sarutobi's eyes widened. Naruto's hair had grown longer, resembling Minato's. You look more like him every time I see you. Minato would be ecstatic, Sarutobi said quietly. I wish I didn't look like him, the blonde replied coldly. You brought this on yourself, Naruto-kun. You made the choice to become a missing nin, Sarutobi sighed. You're right, I did. However, I didn't choose who your council advisors were. That is on you, old man, Naruto retorted, annoyance creeping into his tone. You're right, that is on me, Sarutobi admitted sadly, then smiled as an idea struck him. To make up for my wrongs, I want to strike a deal with you, he proposed. A deal, huh? Naruto asked, unsure of what the old man was planning. Yes, Gaara still does not have an opponent. I can always place you in there and let you fight him to liven up the crowd, Sarutobi suggested. Naruto scoffed at the idea. In exchange for what exactly? How do you plan to explain my missing status? He inquired. I'll make an announcement just before your fight that you were on an S-rank mission to gather information on Danzo Shimura. I had to make you a missing nin so it wouldn't raise any alarms and fall back on me, but in the end, you did tip me off about his killing of Shursui-kun, Sarutobi said with a smirk. Naruto smiled at this. Indeed, he had informed Sarutobi about Shursui. So, I get a slap on the wrist and I'm back in Konoha? Is that what I get in exchange? He asked, curious about how this would unfold. No, I was actually thinking of something better. Making you a Sannin so you could travel. You will only need to return when I, or whoever I pick as the 5th Hokage, calls you back, Sarutobi explained. Naruto nodded. That could be fun, but make Anko-chan a Sannin as well. I need my girl back. I will not travel without her. I will help you anytime you need it. Just say the word. If you can do that for me, you have yourself a deal, Naruto stated. Sarutobi nodded and shook his hand. I'll have my umbu fetch Anko-chan and have her meet us in my office. In Hiruzen's office, Naruto asked, so who have you picked as Hokage? As he sat down. Tsunade, but I have yet to send anyone to get her, the old Kage replied with a sigh. I could always go to her myself and persuade her to take the hat, Naruto offered. No, I can't have you sleeping with my next successor, Sarutobi said with a grin. Well, if nothing else works. I may have to, so I hold no promises, Hokage-sama. If she falls in love with the new fox Sannin, that's on her, Naruto said with a thumbs up. You're both perverts, Yugao remarked from her hiding spot. I agree, Anko chimed in as she and Kakashi walked into the room, both grinning. Why are you here, Kakashi? Sarutobi asked the masked Jonin. Well, when I heard a certain blonde was here, I decided to come and see him for myself, Kakashi replied with an eye smile. I wasn't one to complain, I just wanted to see my Naruto-kun, Anko said, sitting in his lap. I missed you, she added, giving him a kiss on the lips. He kissed her back and wrapped his arms around her. Good to know you're not mad at me, Naruto said with a sad sigh. I understand why you left. I was actually planning to go with you. We could never find you though, you just disappeared, she said quietly. I was in Yuzu training my Byron Mode. It was the only place where I wouldn't alert Konoha by using Kurama's chakra, Naruto explained. That explains a lot, Kakashi commented. How are you, Kakashi? I know losing a student can't be very good, Naruto asked his old teacher. Kakashi sighed. I'm upset, but if you hadn't dealt with Orochimaru the first time, Sasuke would have abandoned the village. That I am sure of, he replied. I agree as well. It's sad we lost the last loyal Sharingan wielder. However, his death means stopping a potential traitor, Sarutobi added. How is Sakura taking it? Since we are on the subject of the Uchiha brat, Naruto inquired, wholeheartedly agreeing with Sarutobi. Indifferent. She is upset he died, but I feel as if she couldn't care less. Your leaving, even if it was such a short absence, made her angry at herself. She feels that she is the cause, Kakashi explained with a sigh. Lee has been helping her through it. He has been a sweetheart to her. She has become smitten with him as well. Kakashi's sad demeanor shifted to a happy one. Naruto nodded and smiled. I'll talk to her once Hokasama reveals my fake leave of absence at the exams. Hopefully she'll understand. I have to thank Lee for keeping her company as well. He has always been a good kid, Naruto said. Speaking of the exams, I will be revealing that Naruto became a missing nin so he can gather information without getting me involved if things go south, Sarutobi stated. It's only fitting, he did tip me off on Shursui Uchiha's real death. That makes the most sense, Kakashi replied with an eye smile. It's ironic, he tried to have you arrested by saying you killed Sasuke when in fact he killed an Uchiha himself and stole his eye. It's funny to think about. Karma is a force to be reckoned with, Naruto and Anko said in unison. Yes it is. Now, I will be making Naruto-kun one of the Sannin. Anko-chan, you will be made one as well, if you are willing of course, Sarutobi told the purple-haired special Jonin. If it means I get to spend more time with Naruto-kun, then I'll do it. Plus, the world needs a new snake Sannin anyhow, Anko replied. Half an hour later, Hiruzen had just finished telling everyone about Naruto's fake secret mission, prompting gasps all around. Some were happy as they had never liked Danzo, so it made sense. Others were angry that the Kyubi brat was back, and their anger intensified when Hiruzen announced that Naruto was now one of the new legendary Sen. Most ninjas felt jealous and thought it was unfair, but Hiruzen did not care. That is all, we can get back to the exams now, he said, sitting down. Naruto was currently hugging Sakura, who was crying. Is this all true? She asked him. Naruto nodded and sighed. It needed to be done. Danzo Shimura has run rampant for too long, he said quietly. Sakura wiped her eyes and nodded as they parted from the hug. I thought you left for good. I wasn't sure if it was because of Sasuke dying or if you were angry with me and the rest of the village. I need to think things through. I'm supposed to be some genius bookworm, she said with a teary sigh. I understand where you're coming from, Sakura. I was like that myself when I was younger, Naruto replied with a smile, patting her on the head. Sakura blushed and nodded. She may have become smitten with Lee-kun, but Naruto-kun was simply more gorgeous than any man she had ever met. This last month, I found out that I had the ability to sense people's emotions. Sakura, don't hurt yourself trying to win me over. I'm not that guy. Lee is perfect for you, however. Though, I want to give you the personal mission of fixing those eyebrows of his, Naruto said. Sakura cut off her blush and giggled. Yes, sensei, she said, giving him a mock salute. Naruto grinned and grabbed her shoulder. Thank you for being a good friend, Sakura. I must be going now, I have places to be, he said. Sakura nodded and smiled at him. Thank you for making me a real kunoichi, Naruto-kun. I owe you big time for what you did for me, she said. Naruto tossed his hands into his cloak pockets and nodded. Stop calling me Kun, and you can consider us even. I'll see you around, he said, vanishing in a swirl of flames. Sakura watched him appear next to Shikamaru and then watched him push the lazy genin over the railing. She grinned and slapped Ino on the back. Serves the lazy prick right. Over with Naruto, he smirked as he looked down at Shikamaru, who was getting to his feet. Temari giggled at him. Thank you, Naruto-kun, she yelled up to him. Naruto nodded and smiled. Troublesome blondes, Shikamaru muttered. Temari heard this and countered, troublesome lazy prick. Naruto smirked more and took a seat. Good day to be alive, he thought with a grin. Naruto-kun, Anko said, walking up next to him to sit down. What's up, love? He asked with a grin. She giggled and hugged his arm. Nothing, just came to see you handle Gaara's match. I was going to stay home, but today has been rather exciting, she said. It has, hasn't it? He replied with a small smile. But I do want to ask you something, she said. Quietly. Ask away then, he told her. How do you know about Ayam and Kurenei? She asked. Well, I have a nifty little trick I learned to do with my shadow clones, he said, turning to look at her. As you know, shadow clones can transfer information to the caster of the jutsu. They can also transfer anything sealed in their skin. Anko widened her eyes at this. That is so cool, but that doesn't explain how you found out what the ramen girl did, she said to him. Well, you said everyone had 1 whole hour to reach the forest of death. I sent a shadow clone to get me lunch. Speaking of lunch, he trailed off and began unsealing the very same bowl of ramen from his arm. Still warm too, he said with a happy sigh and began eating. Anko's sweat dropped. It's been there for a month. Shouldn't that be bad? She asked him. Fuinjutsu is a wonderful thing, Anko-chan, he said with a grin. Now where was I? Oh, that's right. Well, Ayam cried her heart out to me. She told me everything. She also mentioned the genjutsu Kurenei put on her to make her do those things. She was clearly lying, so I'm never going back to Ichiraku Ramen again. I honestly only went there to see her, but I don't have a reason to now. So, this will be my last bowl of ramen, he rambled off to her, with a ramen noodle hanging from his mouth. Anko giggled and nodded. Good, I didn't like her much anyhow. She was too snobby for my liking, Anko said to her boyfriend. Naruto chuckled. Naruto-kun, I won. Though the lazy guy trapped me with his shadow and forfeited, Temari said as she sat down next to him. Naruto smiled. I saw that, he said to her. Temari, go ahead and ask him, Anko told her with a grin. Temari blushed. Would you be willing to marry me, to strengthen the treaty between Suna and Konoha? She asked him. What about the invasion? He asked her, confused. Hokage-sama has given us a choice. Be killed in the attack or help Konoha defeat Orochimaru and his sound village since my father is dead, she said sadly. Naruto nodded. If that is what Suna is willing to do, then sure. I'll talk with Hokage-sama to see what he wants to do. You're cute, so why not? He said with a big smile. Temari nodded and blushed. Thank you, she said. See, told you he would do it, Anko said with a grin. You two have been talking? He asked her. Anko nodded. She came to me asking if I was willing to share you. I brought up the CRA, and well, one thing led to another. So here we are, Anko replied with a smile. You knew I was coming back, he realized with a smirk. Anko placed her arms behind her head and smirked. What can I say? You're almost unpredictable, Naruto-kun, she said to him playfully. Almost. But I knew once Danzo was thrown in jail you had something to do with it. I also knew you were going to come back and deal with Orochi for good. It was predictable, she then said. Naruto smirked. You know me too well, Anko-chan, he said. I do. So, did any more girls catch your eye while we are on the subject? She asked him. Naruto shrugged. Other than you, Mei-chan, and now Temari-chan, not really, he said. What about Yugao-chan? Anko asked him, knowing her friend liked him and that Naruto could definitely help Yugao get her mind off hate for a while or for good, if Yugao felt more interested, of course. Hate on her mind? Naruto asked, having considered asking her out after dealing with Hayate. He knew that Hayate's betrayal to the village ate her up inside. Yeah, she is not a mess. Though she definitely is not alright, Anko said sadly. I'll talk to her after then, but I need to get going, girls. It's time, he said. Anko and Temari both raised an eyebrow at this until they heard, Naruto Uzumaki versus Gaara of the Sand. Don't hurt him, Temari pleaded with him. Naruto nodded and vanished in a swirl of flames. The girls watched as he reappeared in the arena right across from Gaara, who showed up in a swirl of sand. Mother wants your blood, Uzumaki, Gaara said, showing no emotion. Naruto closed his eyes. Your brother is a lunatic. To make a lonely kid a psychopath, Naruto told Kurama in his head. Shikaka was always like that. It also can't help having a twisted bloodthirsty priest in his mind as well, the fox replied with a sigh. You may begin, the proctor said and jumped back to let them fight. Gaara smirked wickedly and held out his left hand. Sand burial, he said in a twisted tone. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. He would soon get his unanswered question as sand shot straight at him. How stupid can you be? Naruto muttered. Lava release, blaze wall, he then said calmly. A tall wall of lava came from the ground, knocking the sand to the ground. The stadium gasped at the large wall of lava, and some of the people watching smirked. Gaara was one of those people. Mother really wants your blood now, he said loudly. Sand shuriken, he yelled, and the sand that began to leave him took the shape of 13 shuriken, which were soon launched straight at Naruto. The lava wall was still in play, so Naruto figured he would try something new. Lava release, lava shuriken, he stated calmly. The wall of lava began to reshape itself, becoming 13 lava shuriken. Naruto snapped his fingers, and the shuriken flew toward Gaara. Canceling Gaara's shuriken out, the redhead had to throw more sand up to block the lava coming at him. The lava shuriken, however, melted straight through the sand. Gaara had to actually move his body to block. He did and slowly turned around to watch the lava stick to the wall and melt it. You figured out how to bypass my sand, Gaara muttered. Naruto heard him and smirked. Not exactly, I'm just keeping you at arm's length to figure you out. I think I did. You are completely trash as a ninja if it wasn't for your sand, Naruto called out loudly, making all of the sand village gasp at what the blondes said to their Jinchuriki. Gaara glared at him and went to say something, but his eyes widened as he found a fist in his midsection. The punch was so hard that Gaara spat up a little blood. You're weak, people fear you because of your sand and the beast in your stomach, Naruto said, looking down at him as he held his hurting stomach. My blood, Gaara muttered angrily. I can see my blood, he muttered once again, and a large blast of sand shot around him and Naruto. It was then Naruto began to see pink Sakura petals fall. The invasion is starting, I better wrap this up then, he said quietly. 5 elements seal, he muttered, and his fingertips lit up with red chakra. He then slammed his fingertips into Gaara's bijou seal. Making the boy go wide-eyed and pass out from having his bijou cut off from him, the sand dropped to the ground, and Gaara fell onto his back. Baki, the sand sibling sensei, appeared next to Naruto and said, Thank you, I'll take him from here. The blonde nodded and vanished in a swirl of flames. Baki remarked to no one in particular, That kid scares me. Temari soon appeared with a dreamy smile as she watched Naruto appear right next to Sarutobi and said, Well, I think he's hot. Naruto-kun, that new way of defeating him and destroying the curse mark altogether you mentioned, how would you go about doing it? Sarutobi asked the blonde as Orochimaru put up a 4-sided barrier. Naruto was about to reply when Mei appeared next to him in a swirl of water. So, 2 Kage and a Sannin versus a former Sannin? I think I like our chances, the redhead said. Sarutobi nodded in agreement. Naruto quietly released his gravity seals and felt his body get lighter. I believe he is going to use the Reanimation Jutsu, Naruto replied. He got his answer when 3 coffins suddenly arose from the ground. The coffins opened, and out walked Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju, and Mito Uzumaki. I'll take Mito-sama, I know a lot about her from my training with Kurama, Naruto said, cracking his joints. Mei nodded. I'll take Hashirama-sama, My lava release versus any would release user has been a dream of mine, she said. And I'll take my sensei, Sarutobi added with a sigh. Naruto nodded. Good, I'll deal with Orochimaru myself when I find an opening, he told the two Kage. Saru, is that you? Tobirama asked. Sarutobi nodded, but before he could reply, he found Hashirama looking at him. Kami, you got old, the god of shinobi said with a grin. Yeah, well, that is what happens when you're 64, you tend to be old, Sarutobi replied with a small smile. Who are these two, Sarukuin? Mito finally spoke up. The blonde is Naruto Uzumaki, son of Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. The redhead is Mei Terumi, the fifth Mizukage, Sarutobi explained. Uzumaki? Well, it would seem we have more in common than I thought. You hold Kurama, Mito said to Naruto. The blonde nodded. Yes, Two-san made me a Jinchuriki after a masked Uchiha ripped Kurama from Kachan the day of my birth, he told her. Orochimaru scoffed, having heard enough, and began to put a glowing kunai in each of the reanimated heads. Kill them all. Orochimaru yelled. Sorry, sir, it seems we have our orders, Tobirama said as he charged the old Kage. Hashirama charged at Mei, and Mito walked calmly toward Naruto. Let's fight and talk while I figure out how to redo this jutsu. I hate being under someone's control, Mito said and vanished. She reappeared just behind Naruto and sent a chakra-infused punch toward his back. Naruto vanished, leaving Mito to punch an afterimage. Orochimaru underestimated you, Mito-sama, you're at your full power, Naruto said from behind her, hands still in his pockets. He did, didn't he? That would be his greatest mistake, she replied. So, how old are you? She then asked, turning around to throw another punch at him. He dodged, and she continued her charge with a flurry of punches. I just turned 15 last Tuesday, Naruto said, dodging all of her punches with ease. You're good at dodging, she noted, managing to touch him with one finger. Naruto widened his eyes as a large explosion erupted from his cloak. He gritted his teeth in pain, ripping the cloak from his body and dropping it to the ground. I liked that cloak, he muttered. One finger explosion seal, Mito said. Naruto sighed. They sure went right for the kill back in the warring era of this world, he remarked. Mito grinned. Sorry, I couldn't help it. The last person I used that jutsu on was Hashirama because I liked him. You're cute, so I thought it would be a good time to use it, she said. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the redhead. Cute? He asked with a chuckle. Mito smirked. What can I say? I like what I see, she said, poking a finger into his chest. Naruto just nodded, a tiny sweat drop forming. I guess the jutsu has been handled? He asked her, noticing that Mito was checking him out rather than trying to fight him. She replied, leaning in to kiss his cheek. He blushed and nodded. Then I must be going to deal with Orochimaru, he told her. Mito nodded. I'll go fix Tobirama and Hashirama-kun. See you, Muru-kun, she said and vanished. Women are troublesome, he muttered. I agree, Naruto-kun, a voice said behind him. Naruto turned and slightly widened his eyes. Itachi, he said. The elder Uchiha brother nodded. I came to deal with Orochimaru. He ruined my plan to let Sasuke kill me and get his revenge, the man explained to the blonde. Naruto sighed and nodded. You can deal with him, just slap him with this seal first. It will undo each curse mark he has ever put on someone, Naruto said, handing him a seal from his pocket. Itachi looked at the seal and soon tucked it into his Akatsuki cloak. Okay, but I would like to tell you about the Akatsuki. We are a group of S-rank nins sent to capture each Jinchuriki. If you see someone with this cloak I have on, kill them immediately, Itachi said and vanished in a flock of black crows. That's just great, Naruto muttered, looking over as Mito, Hashirama, Tobirama, Sarutobi, and Mei walked over to him. It seems we have backup, Sarutobi said, glancing at Itachi, who was overpowering his ex-student. Yeah, he's making my job a whole lot easier, Naruto chuckled. So, this Akatsuki is after my kind? Naruto asked the old man. Sarutobi nodded. Itachi has been my undercover man for quite some time, to keep you safe. Then that night came, and well, you are an S-rank shinobi yourself now, the Kage said with a grin. Naruto nodded. Well, I think I'll go on a training trip. S rank isn't enough to take on a whole group of them. SS rank sounds more fitting, he said. That reminds me, here, Naruto-kun, Mei said, tossing him a scroll. It contains more lava release techniques, and they are powerful as well. 5 days later, Naruto sat on the Hokage monument, just like he had a few months prior when thinking about becoming a genin. Now he was a sannin, and it felt as strange as the day he was going to become a genin. Naruto-kun, it's time to head out, Anko said as she appeared next to him. Already? Can't you wait a few seconds at least? He asked, giving her a puppy eyes look. Fine, make it quick, she told him. Naruto smirked. Alright, I just want to say goodbye to a few people, he told her. I do as well, let's meet at Yugao's place in an hour. Sometime later, after saying goodbye to Sakura, Temari, and Kakashi, Naruto arrived at Yugao Uzuki's house, but things were never easy. I told you to get lost, Anko yelled as she kicked someone out of Yugao's house. I need to talk with Naruto, Kurenei Yuhi insisted. Well, I said he doesn't want to talk with you. Get lost, Anko yelled again. Naruto sighed. Anko-chan, let's hear what she has to say, he said, making his presence known. Anko and Yugao looked at him, both sighing and nodding. Make it quick, Anko said, staying put to see what Kurenei had to say. Kurenei bowed to him. Naruto, I must tell you something important, she began. Naruto nodded for her to continue. Kurenei stood straight and blushed. The reason I had I cheat on you was because I wanted you for myself, she admitted, embarrassed. Anko, Yugao, and Naruto widened their eyes. Can I ask why? Naruto suggested. She nodded. Hinata is my student, but I can't stand her. She was never like that in the beginning, though, she was a sweetheart, Kurenei said with a sigh. I know, she used to be nice to me. A bit creepy, but nice nonetheless, Naruto replied, crossing his arms. I had the smallest crush on you when you were younger. Do you remember saving me from that man all those years ago? She asked, her anger rising just thinking about it. I do, Kurenei Yuhi, I do, Naruto replied with a sigh. I told Hinata, and that's what made her the way she is. She's 10 times worse now, but this isn't about her. This is about me and you. Since that day, my love has grown for you, with all that you have accomplished and all the power you have now. You're a deity in my eyes, so please take me into your harem. She begged him and got onto her hands and knees. Naruto looked at Anko, who was smirking. He didn't like that one. But, Kurenei, you're going to stand up and you're going to let Naruto take you right here, Anko said. Kurenei was on her feet in seconds, beginning to remove her clothes. Anko ran up and put a hand on her shoulder. I was kidding. If Naruto wants you to be part of his arrangement, then that's his choice, Anko said with a smile. Kurenei nodded. Yugao sighed, finding all this drama in front of her house overwhelming. Take me as well, I would like to join, Yugao then said, walking to stand next to her best friend Anko and potentially her new friend Kurenei Yuhi. Naruto sighed and looked at his watch. It was 5 p.m. exactly. I'll be testing you both then, if this is what you really want, he said. We do, Yugao and Kurenei said, glaring at one another. Anko smirked. A wicked fursum sounds great right about now, she said. Naruto smirked. Sounds like a good test to me. Let's go. You're up first, Kurenei. 5 hours later, Naruto, Kurenei, Anko, and Yugao were now standing at the west gate, getting ready to leave. Somehow, Anko convinced the old man to let Kurenei and Yugao tag along. This was just great, and the experience had been fantastic, so he was looking forward to more in the future. Do you all have everything you need? He asked the three. Yes, all three shouted in unison. Good, let's go. We will be heading to Wave Country first, he said to them. The three nodded. What for, Naruto? Kurenei asked her new boyfriend, blushing at the thought. Mostly because of Tsunami, she was really good in the sheets. I miss her, so we are headed there so I can see her again. Plus, Wave is 2 hours away from Yuzu. We're heading there next. I never got to say goodbye to my mother, and I want to make things right with Naruto, he told Kurenei. She nodded, blushing at him. Okay, Naruto, Kurenei replied. You're more perverted than Jiraiya, Yugao said with a giggle. Kurenei giggled as well, and Anko smirked, knowing what his answer would be. Perhaps, but I get more attention than him on a slow day.